Make sure everything is good to go. Oh, oops. Oh, I may have to reconnect it. Accidentally closed out Discord. Oops. It does not want to refresh. Hold on. There we go. He's alive. Okay. So, right where we left off, I actually fucked up a little bit, because when we stopped last time, I just kind of closed the game thinking it would have, like, autosaved it around this point. It did not. So I had to go back through, like, half of the epilogue, and I just went through, I made all the same choices. But that was fun. But now we get to decide what we look like at 19. Just play with these. Thick. Actually, this probably looks the most like my hair. It's crazy. I'll probably end up keeping something similar. Oh. All these options are so cute. I actually kind of like the braided one, but I think I like the braided one for like a tiny bit older than 19, right? Like I still want it to be a little cute. We'll give that one a shot. Oh, Jesus. You know what? Sure, why not? Hey, Poe. There's nothing else I really want to change about her right here. I can give her badass battle scars. All this can stay the same. I totally got a nose ring. That'd be so cool. I've never actually gotten one. Sure. We can, ooh! We can pick the loved one now. We can just be in love with him. It's so cute. Oh, this is where the save was. This is where, oops. I was right next to it being saved. Oh boy. We'll look at Cove. He's so cute! Oh, he has his glasses back now. Oh, interesting. He is still cold and quiet. Oh, here's where they explain this. It's basically saying that I get to pick his initiative. Like, how often is he gonna make a move compared to, like, me having to initiate it? But we're always gonna go high initiative because I like it when he does things. Yay! The start of classes ended and relaxed. 3 days of summer. It didn't take long for you to get back into the swing of the school routine. Schedules and homework became the new normal. Ew! Derek wasn't around nearly as much. With school and after-school activities, there weren't many opportunities for him to take a trip out to your neighborhood. That's sad. I do miss him. He's a great boy. Sometimes you'd hear that he was at the training camp or something like that, but you weren't always sure what he was up to. But you still kept in touch. Yes, oh yeah, I made a promise that I would. The Jeremy kid did disappear after that summer, and no one ever heard from him again. Whether he went or what he might be up to now is a mystery. You saw more of Miranda around. Since you had hung out with her on her birthday, she had opened up to you. The two of you talked regularly. She was the same towards Cove. So, I didn't do the DLC last time, so I didn't do the birthday. So when you get to this part, if you don't do that, they talk about how Cove became friends with her. And then you guys became a friend group. After a while, all three of you developed a real friendship together. More summers came and went like the waves on the shore coming in and out. In your second year of high school, someone new started to visit Sunsetbird, a sunny girl named Terry Brooke. She was a friend Cove made due to them both being ocean obsessed. Oh, I think this is what happens. Cove becomes friends with Terry, and Terry's friends with Miranda, and Miranda becomes our friend. Terry was more than glad to befriend you too. Someone close to Cove had to be good company, she felt. You were pleased to get along with her well. Funnily enough, Terry was also extremely tight with Miranda, who she had known for even longer than Cove. The four of you were able to create a small friend circle. As for your home life, the Flames also had developments. Changing laws and public perception countrywide made it possible that your moms could openly wear their wedding rings without question. Nice. Though they had a wedding years ago, it was only recently that the union was officially recognized everywhere in the US. That was a good day to say the least. Elizabeth came into her own and stopped being quite as irritable. She'd no longer worry about perceived childishness, and she grew up for real. She didn't even mind being called Lizzie again, although most people used Liz. She eventually graduated high school and moved out to attend college in another state. It was a lot for you to adjust to, your older sister being gone. Liz never let you forget her role in your life, though, and kept in touch. Yay! Cove's relationships with his family improved over the years. Kira visited several times after that summer, and things became easier between the two. He was also closer with his dad than ever before. You knew they talked more, and that helped prevent a lot of friction before it started. However, Cove grew into someone no one would call social. He kept to himself usually. He cared for a few connections he did have, but didn't reach outside them. I think that's new. I don't think they said that last time. I think he was a bit more social. Cove had shifted from preferring athletics to becoming more seriously studious as his schooling went on. Bullshit. Things had shifted between you and Cove, but in the way that you couldn't see. After all this time, he wasn't just your neighbor, he wasn't only your friend or even a guy you were interested in. You were in love with him. You loved Cove. You knew that fact for certain. There was no one else who you held feelings for. So cute. It was strange to look back on it all. The future faded into the present, and then was simply the past. Even the most fundamental parts of your life couldn't last forever. You felt that the most pointedly the day you inevitably graduated high school. It was over. You would not be going back ever again. From now on, what came next was your choice. You would be directing your own... don't like it. It's too real. That was where you were currently. The summer after school had ended, the first summer of true freedom. Yeah, sure. What used to be a reprieve from the typical was now going to be your first step into adulthood. One fine summer morning, you took in what had become of the very special scene, the whole family having a meal together. Look at Liz! Your big sister Liz still hadn't lived at home full-time for a couple years, but she arrived last week to spend the season here, since it was an off semester for her. Look at her! She looks so good! She wanted to make sure she was in town because you had now also graduated high school. So who knew how much rarer these moments would become in the future? You watched as Liz laughed good-naturedly at a comment Ma made. Her Elizabeth-only mindset had only been a phase. Nearly any nickname was welcome at this point in her life. Strangely, though, even though she'd moved away, you'd lately felt closer to her than you had in a long time. Sisters. You idly scooped up more of your breakfast and chewed absent-mindedly. You were vegetarian, you were vegan, you were pescatarian, you were polotarian. Is that only eating poultry? Or something? You were a picky eater, you generally ate whatever. And the meal you had reflected that. It included just about everything your moms had made, though you often made your own food nowadays. Yeah, stop mooching. With Liz around, though, your parents made even more options than usual. Your sister had been a vegetarian for a while, and they wanted to make sure she had choices too. Conversation had gone on idly without you fully taking in the words until your ears were piqued when Ma started on a bit of town gossip. Look at the moms! And so that's how I heard the news. Ma's hair has progressively gotten less wild and straighter over time. Now stop burying the... Whoa. Ma giggled as she cast a look across the table, satisfied that she had everyone's attention. Well, it turns out the Donnells won't be renting out the condo up this street, as per Sunset Bird tradition, for the first time in what must be nearly 2 decades. A chorus of gasps and shocks expressions were had all around. After the initial shock, your eyebrows pinched. Yeah, the old couple. Ma may consider them by name, but you and Liz always viewed them exclusively as the mean old couple who would yell at you. Anyone under 25 who crossed their paths. Your ma continued on with the story, spreading strawberry jam over a piece of toast as she did so. They've decided not to take big trips anymore. Friends and family will be visiting them at their home. That's nice for them then. Have a good summer. Mean grandparents with no grandkids away from us. That's a relief. It's kind of sad that they can't travel anymore. I hope they're still okay, even if they're mean. My thoughts exactly. Finally, they can piss off. You didn't have anything to comment. They've had a very full life. It's nothing to sneeze at. And you be nice, Liz. You don't want to end up like them, do you? Like cranky old people? You and your sister crack smiles at the joke. Well, at least they won't be here to tell you to yell at my children anymore. Ooh. Ma didn't like them. And that blunt comment got laughter from all three of you. Yay, it's so cute. Sorry, I got distracted by, like, actual food. You had set up cups in front of you and needed to go to the top shelf of the cabinet. Are you gonna give me that or not?
I'm checking the boyfriend text.
Gimme! Step stool was mandatory for you. You were very short.
You know I gotta get my cut.
I'm being called out. To have a simpler lot in life, you'd always been vertically challenged. You felt great about how things are. You hoped you might still grow more. You wished you had stopped growing earlier. You didn't think about it much. You didn't even know what to think about it. You kind of just get used to it. That part of yourself is never something you could really figure out your thoughts on. I just don't care. This shook you out of your internal musing and started with an impromptu conversation. Sorry, I'm eating food too. I have to say, going back for another semester this fall is pretty intimidating. You'd think after the first year or two I'd have a handle on things, but nope. You stole a glance at her, still placing cups in their proper place. I guess it's only fair. My first round was pretty general classes, and year one of my architecture major was the basics. Now it feels serious. Yeah, that's kind of how it went for me. The laugh she gave was flippantly airy. Like, basically, the first, so I only ended up doing 3 years because I just went through every summer. In, the first year and a half was kind of meh. And then and that's like they just introduce all the basics of stuff to you. And then it gets really cool towards the end. I know you can handle it. I think it's really cool you want to be an architect. That does sound hard. You simply shrugged, merely listening to her, but I think it's cool that she wanted to be an architect. Don't be too impressed yet. Wait to see if that actually happens. But thanks. Your older sister's mouth quirked into a small smile. You'll be fine one way or the other. Oh, but I'm not trying to scare you away from college. If that's even your plan, what's going on with that anyway? I don't know. You've had a solid plan set for a long time. The fuck I did. You came to a firm conclusion recently. You had kind of a general idea. You had absolutely no idea You hadn't even let yourself think about it, it was too much. I had a general idea of going to college, and then my mom found one for me. And she was like, hey, these specialize in this, they're kind of cool, would you be interested? And I was like, sure. You answered the question as much as you were able and willing to. Liz's smile grew more reassuring as you did. You made it through 12 years of full-time education already. It's gotta be plenty going for you. Oh, you've got plenty going for you. That really means nothing. The 12 years of education in the school system is basically worthless. Felt hard to believe your public schooling experience was over. Yeah. You had graduated top of your class. Probably not. You soared through with high marks. You had to work extremely hard, but were rewarded with great grades. You had been an average graduate. You struggled to reach the benchmarks, but made it. You didn't try hard, but made it regardless. I was average. And you were going to miss it. You felt satisfied leaving it off there. You wished it would have gone better. You were just glad it was truly behind you. Yep. You passed. It was fine. Now you could do what you wanted with your time. Yep. It's too real. Liz picked up on the silence. On the silence her question ended up creating, she decided it was time to make a closing statement. You're a good girl, Little. Do what's best for you, and we'll be here to back you up. You're so nice. You're the best sister ever. Thanks, Liz. I love you. At that, Liz happily passed the final dish your way. She waved the soapy-soaked hand as a farewell and moved on to her next task for cleanup job. You refocused on getting the last piece put back where they belong. You can tell this is like mom-owned house compared to like Cove's house, who is dad-owned house, right? So the moms put their kids to work doing chores. I mean, I'm sure we offered, but you know, they let their kids do chores while they're visiting. And I feel like that's more of a mom thing. Everybody come in and help mom do chores. And then in dad homes, they're like, nah, I got it. The guests doesn't do anything, sit on your ass. Maybe it's just me. This is just my personal experience. You eventually moved on to a new chore, but that was interrupted by the sound of your cell phone. It was a phone's default ringtone. You had a silly novelty ringtone. You set one of your most beloved songs to your ringtone. The phone was set just to vibe. You casually picked it up from the table where you had placed it earlier. The phone was a couple years old at this point, having been a 16th birthday gift from your parents. Nice. They decided which model to get, but you got to pick the color. Me. Yay! Oh, there's so many options. I think it's funny. I mean, they can't give you options for everything, right? But it would have been funny if it was like, you'd gone through a few phones because you had broken some in that time, or you were really good with your phone and you kept it the whole time, because that was me. All of my friends kept, like, breaking their phones, and I've had, like, 4 cell phones entirely in my life. And that, most of that is because I had to move and get, like, a new one with, like, new stuff. But I find that funny. Purple phone. And it was just a phone. You didn't do anything to decorate it. You had a special chart. Oh, yep. Which was the shark keychain Cove bought you when you were a kid. The lantern-based game of laying voices. A small shell, a crystal, a heart, a music note, a cat face, a string of beat. The thing Cove gave me, my little shark. You were pleased when you finally had a prominent place to use the gift. Yes. The screen lit up as you gave your little device a swipe on your finger. It was Lee. Despite having busier and busier lives and not living in the same town, you still had a good relationship with your cousin. Yay! Especially once the miracle of both of you having your own phones actually happened. She got hers first. Yeah, she's filthy fucking rich. Tapping on the accept button, you answered the call. A familiar, bubbly voice came through right after. She's so cute. I trust I'm not interrupting anything major. Only some cleaning around the house. Oh, then you're welcome for my call. A distraction from that must have been desperately needed. Thank you for saving me, Lee. Yes, thank you, my dear cousin.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure. You could hear the jangling of jewelry she must be wearing. Ooh, she all decked out. Nothing amazing is happening for me either. I'm bored and felt like chatting. The morning shift ended, so I'm free for the rest of the day. Woo! Come hang out. She probably was too far away. You were off from your part-time job today. You hadn't started working anywhere yet, so you couldn't relate. I had a weird life where I didn't have a job as a teenager. Unlike you, Lee had started dipping her toes in the workforce as of late. It made keeping in touch frequently even more complicated, but you both managed. What about you? It's been pretty normal.
Cool.
No, I was eating. She was never willing to let up. So that name was incredibly familiar to your ears, Cove, your next door neighbor for the past decade at this point. But he was far more than just someone who lived in the same street. You vividly remembered the summer days you expressed feelings for each other as little 13-year-olds. You started officially dating years ago. You only got together officially recently. I feel like as soon as it was okay with the parents for them to like come out, they would have just been like, yeah, we're basically dating, right? Like, there's nothing to stop us. They've been dating since like 16 or something. Totally, 100%. You were in love with him, but that was one thing you hadn't admitted yet. You were in love with him, but didn't want to talk about that at this point in your life. We haven't admitted it yet? Are we gonna get, like, a confession? Are you even surviving without the boy being 10 feet away at all times? Or is everything right in the world again and he's back? Alright. We can be away from each other for 10 minutes. No, Lee, he isn't here. Just like he wasn't here yesterday, or the last time you asked, or the time before. Oh, she's salty. Why am I'm so salty about it?
Sorry.
Aw, my bad. Can you blame me? Does it seem like he should have made his grand return already? Plus, I want to visit soon and he needs to be there too. You could understand where she was coming from. This was certainly outside the norm. For the past couple months, and the last few weeks especially, Cove had been going to his mom's place in Nevada. The two of you still regularly stayed in contact over text and calls, but still. He's not that far away. Your mind began to drift back in time to all the prior trips he'd taken to visit her. Almost every year he'd have to go away for a while and then he'd be back. It made you sad and lonely when it happened. You never minded it. It was kind of nice to have breaks away from each other. You weren't a fan, but made do. It was just City. It upset you. Your younger self would worried about him leaving for good. Sad and lonely. You never... I mean, it's not like I'm completely devoid, like... So, the separation sucks, but, like, it's fine. I guess this one, right? Like, it sucks, but it's fine. You sent him letters the entire... We have a phone. Why would I send letters? Your mom's helped you shipped care package. I feel like that's unnecessary, but sure. You gave him special treasures to take with him before he left. Oh. You kept an eye on his house for him while his dad's home. You don't need to do that. You were incapable of doing anything until he was... I don't know about that. I gave him special things. Some were just tomorrow, and others were him to keep forever. He sent you letters while they're in return. Oh, he sent me letters. Okay. I mean, I'll accept them. I just think it's kind of pointless. That's how it was in the past, but lately he had been trying to see her as much as he could before taking long trips to another state became too impractical to do. His part-time work could become full-time soon, or he could be moving somewhere else for school. Wolf hadn't actually been entirely clear what his plans were after graduation. Wolf was hesitant to speak on that, even with you. It couldn't be avoided forever, though. You both knew that.
Well,
To a non-Cove related topic. Sure, what do you want to talk about? The rest of the conversation rolled on, not much longer though. Lee had to go. The both of you exchanged goodbyes and then went back to what you'd been working on before. Oh boy, more chores. Kill me. As you wrapped up the last of your chores, you were approached by Liz wearing a cheeky smile. I've got Mom's keys. You want to get out of this tiny town and do some shopping in the real city? Sounds great. Yeah, let's go hang, sis. Get the fuck out of here. That was obvious you didn't know how to drive. You were glad for that, you still just had a learner's permit. Even though you could drive too, it was her plan, she could do it if she wanted. Nice of her to do that. You had a license but tried to avoid driving when possible. More deep lore on Rabbit. I did not get my driver's license until I was 22. Because it was fucking pointless to have. Sure. True to life, let's go. Go get your wallet and anything else. We're going now. Okay. You had money saved up from gifts you've received. Oh yeah, did I have a cool graduation party where I got lots of money? After making sure you're both fully prepared for the long haul, largest city in the surrounding area, and you buckled into a car. It was a smooth ride there, with light conversation about what shops to stop at. Always gotta be blasting them tunes. Liz controlled what she played, but she made sure to pick songs she knew you liked. It was something the two of you always done for each other. Cruising through the mall. Cool. Liz had her interest to check, and you had yours. Your hobbies and skills were still the ones you developed when you were younger. I think it roughly, yeah, that's fine. When turning a corner down the new length of the mall, your eyes caught a little gift store. Your friends and family had recently given you many presents for graduating high school. You realized you wanted to get a graduation gift for yourself. For yourself to give to Cove. You had a gift of your own ready to give to Cove when the chance came. You really appreciated what you had gotten. And both of these are just the same, except one I do now and one I do later. I already got him one. It was something you had known he wanted too, and you were looking forward to seeing his reaction. Graduations may have already come and gone, but Cove wasn't really around, so you had to wait. That's so fucking lame. Eventually, the mall was explored in full, with every shop of note being checked over. Rather than going home, you decided to walk over to the smaller stores nearby. Ooh, a whole strip. Liz had many thoughts on that topic. Honestly, malls are not a bastion of society. Even if smaller stores required extra distance, the brands are so much more. Then your sister abruptly stopped speaking and walking right in the middle of the path. It was a good thing no one was behind her. She seemed to entirely shut off for the moment. Liz? The attempt to catch her attention was unsuccessful. Before you could puzzle out what might be happening, she began to mumble out of the corner of her mouth. Little, don't draw attention, but look! With a harsh whisper and a shuttle jerk of her head, she urged you once more.
Hey.
Look! You followed her gaze as best as you could to a large bunch of colorful teens strolling down the same path, okay? You faced back over to your sister with a confused expression and an unspoken question. What are we supposed to be seeing here? Little, doesn't one of them seem familiar? She was practically bouncing at this point, so you looked over to the group again, and this time you saw what she was seeing. It's the boy. It's the baby boy. He's Silo! Amongst the collection of strangers was brown-haired, gray eyes, and lots of freckles. Look at him, he's so cute! That's Silo, our Silo, from when we were kids! Yeah, that's definitely him. That's hilarious, that's incredible. Oh, but how do we talk to him? We'd have to pull him away from all those other people, and what if I'm wrong? I don't think you're wrong, I'm pretty sure that's him. Your mouth opened to reply, but you cut off with her own answer to the question. I've got it. I'll shout the name Silo, and then we can act like it wasn't us. If he responds to that, we'll know without a doubt it's him. Little, keep... Liz, come on. Liz, can't you just try talking to him normally? Like, without even hearing you... Oh, hearing what you had to say, Liz put her plan into action. Okay. Sounds right. She loudly projected the word across the way, and then put on an act of casualness. In a supremely awkward moment, you could only stand there at attention for the area shifted to the two of you thanks to your sister's shout. But of the many startled bystanders who became alerted, oh my god, to your presence, one of them was the boy. From a distance, his large eyes met yours. Silo! A lot of people looked, you yelled. A wide grin took over Liz's face. She pushed the rim of her sun hat up away from her face, while swishing back around to greet her old friend directly. Silo! Waving, she stepped a bit closer to express her intention to meet. Without really closing the gap, she wanted him to come to her. He stole a quick glance at the crowd, and was with a hesitantly glance back your way. He was trying to double-check something. Liz remained steadfast with her gaze trained on him. Ultimately, he broke away from the rest of them. After a light-footed jog across the brick path, the young man pleasantly presented himself in front of Liz and you. He's so tiny! Hi, I like your hat. Just that simple greeting had Liz giggling.
Hey.
Hello, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I'm Lizzie, and that's we were your friends when we were little kids. His already wide eyes grew even larger, their gaze darting between you and Liz. His previously chipper demeanor faded into something delicate. Kino remembered. I'm really sorry, but I think you have the wrong person. You could tell not being instantly recognized was going to make this exchange more of a challenge. Still, Liz was undeterred. It was a long time ago, you were really young. I get why you feel like that. However, I'm positive I'm right. You're exactly the same. The face, the freckles, how You're even still wearing the hat. Instinctively, he looked up at his headwear with creased eyebrows, not making the connection on why the hat meant something to her.
Okay.
We knew each other, okay? An uneasy smile settled on him as a silence followed Lizzie's speech. He was picking his next words carefully. And then the quiet was obliterated by a new voice bursting into the conversation. Scylla, what are you doing? The rest of the group already left. A field trip is not a vacation. We are on a schedule. Startled, your head snapped towards the path. A distinctly unhappy individual with piercing magenta eyes, dark brown skin, and a sharp jaw stormed your way. Okay. He carried a cloud of authority with him despite looking like he wasn't even 18 yet. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to ditch. They thought they recognized me as someone they knew, but it was a tiny misunderstanding. Literally put her foot down at that, stomping in frustration and getting more childish the longer she was around her childhood companion.
Come on.
We do know you! Still merely shrunk in on himself. The tone he spoke with was sorry. Oh, you know him. The stranger spoke in a dismissively scoffing tone, as if the words sounded so absurd to him that it was almost amusing. Almost. There's a kitten going nuts in the corner. What the heck? Well, do you know me? I'll tell you. I'm someone who has been forced against his will to be aware of what's going on in Scylla's ridiculous personal life for a year. Oh, I bet it's a step-sibling. Ah, I am now remembering stuff. This is probably a step-sibling. If the two of you had any importance in his general day-to-day existence, it would have come up by now. Because the first time around, I had no idea who this fucking person was. I thought it was just like some guy. Or some person. Who, like, was friends with him. But, the way he phrased it, I think he's like Scylla's mom didn't have a dad, so it's possible she got remarried at some point. And now he's a step-sibling. Now stop loitering in the road, it's rude. Excuse me? Where are the rude ones? Oh my god, Liz, it's fine. Just let it go. The high-strung ranting got the audible gasp from Scylla, who finally started to speak up again in defense. Nate, that's really mean. And also true, we're leaving. Oh my god. With that declaration, the unofficially introduced Nate indignantly spun on his heels and walked speedily towards where the group went, completely confident that Scylla would follow behind him. Oh, people can sure have bad attitudes, huh? Why can't they just try and get along? It's not hard. Don't worry, though. I bet you won't have to deal with him again. And I'm sorry I can't stay and talk with you, but I hope you have a really nice life. Scylla, no, Scylla. Bye. And that was that. His final parting words given, Scylla left the two of you behind to catch up with his own life that he had to live. Look at Liz. I'm sorry, Liz. Liz watched his exit, stunned, only to frown when it hit her that he was really gone as quickly as he appeared. It happened so fast you hadn't even been able to get a word in. She sighed, all the energy she built up releasing with the breath. I could have told him his last name was Fields, his birthday is October 30th, that would have proved it, but no. I'm surprised you remember his birthday. Sorry, Liz. Wow, Scylla grew up to be dumb. That's mean. You were left feeling equally deflated. Whoever Nate is, he sucks. Well, damn. He was so unnecessarily pleasant that all you wanted was to talk with someone for a moment. Do you want to go catch up with him? Liz merely shook her head, pushing off childish thoughts. I think we can leave it there, thanks. He's in the middle of a high school field trip, and it was already enough being able to see him. There's something reassuring about witnessing firsthand that he's still out there, enjoying his own part of the world. That's so nice. Though if given a chance, I would definitely have a few words with him about the company he's got. She laughed, but you could tell that it wasn't much humor in it. She was mad at that guy, even if she was happy to let Scylla go. Well, he treated Scylla like shit. I don't like it. I don't like that. Maybe they're only with each other because of the field trip, and it's not usually how things are.
Right?
True. We can only hope the same for him as he did for us. Have a nice life, Scylla. Have a good life. Bye, Scylla. We'll miss you. Good luck out there. You'll need it. Liz smiled at you. It had the self-confidence you knew so well from her. Come on, little baby sister. That's a joke. Let's finish our own trip. Yeah. No matter how either of you really felt about the occurrence, it was something you simply had to accept. People you know just disappear and reappear in the most unexpected ways. The two of you enjoyed what remained of your outing until it was time to return home. By the time you arrived back, the sun was already beginning to set. You arched your back as you stretched your arms towards the ceiling. While it had been a good day, it had enough activity to cover an entire week. Yeah, you went outside the house. Liz tried to hide a yawn behind her hands. You weren't the only one feeling worn out. Can't speak. I'll be heading up to your room, the guest room, since mine stopped being available as soon as I was out the door. Yeah, you bet your ass I jumped on that room. Her tone was light. She'd had quite a lot to say on the subject when you had first taken over her bigger room after she left for college, but there had been many trips back home for her since then. The room hasn't been hers for years. It was more of a running joke now that she continued to bring the topic up to this day. Oh. Since we're at a decision moment, give me just 1 second. Be back in 2 seconds. Okay. Let it go, Liz. I didn't see your name on it. Thank you, Liz. It's a really nice room. Thanks for being so gracious about giving it up. Just wanted to follow my big... Let it go. Never. The small laugh was shared between you and your older sister. You better believe you'll be back in the guest room when you've got your own place and we're both in town for a visit. We can take turns. You'll have Thanksgiving and I'll get Christmas. Uh-huh, sure. Don't count on it. That's alright with me. I don't need it. What a reasonable, mature suggestion. I'll think about accepting it. Well, if I have a partner, I get the bigger room. That's how it works. She flashed her familiar grin and you couldn't help but feel glad she was back around, even if it was temporary. With that, she plodded off to the spare room and you were ready to do the same. Moving into the new space was your first opportunity to decorate from scratch. I was so excited when I saw this for the first time. I was like, oh, we get to fucking do whatever we want with it. Look at it, it's so cool. So my only thing that makes me sad is this layout is actually my favorite, and it actually reminds me a lot of like the room I actually had when I was in college. This is kind of not exactly what it was like, but sort of. But purple's my favorite color. And that was my biggest thing the whole time. This one also has kind of a nice layout, but I don't like the yellow. Yeah, I guess I'll just go with the green again. I like it. I like it more than any of the others. Oh yeah, some of them have extras. The green one doesn't. You can kind of... Oh, candles. Yeah, because these have surfaces to put stuff on. The green one is the only one that doesn't have extras. Makes me a little sad. Whatever, it's fine. I can put stuff on my window, and I can change it. I can put lots of plants. Or some books. We'll put a little plant. Oh, I have a bulletin board right above my desk right now. Shark. Pictures. I actually really like that just because I really like this. I really like the big painting. I like these too. I kind of like this. I want this cool painting in here. But yeah, it's so cute. You get to design it kind of... It doesn't really come into play too much, I don't think. Maybe it will more, but... Hi, kitty. But it didn't really too much the last time I played. Anyway, it's cute. I like it. You were really satisfied with the feel of your tiny part of the world. I'll just pretend it's purple. As your thoughts drifted, you tried to bite down another yawn. It was no good. Your bed was now lodged in your mind, and all you could think about was collapsing onto it. It's sunset, and you're 19? I don't believe for a second you're going to sleep at this hour. I don't believe you. You trudged up the stairs to your room. Stepping inside, you closed the door behind you, blocking the rest of the house. When you turned around, you realized you were not alone. Comfortably perched on the windowsill was someone very familiar to you. I'm so excited. Eee! Look at the boy! Look at the boy! He looks so good! Okay. The shock knocked all words from you. Surprise? Eee! Look at him, he's so cute! His tone was easy and relaxed, and certainly was a surprise. You hadn't expected him to be within the state. Never mind your house, in your window, in your bedroom. He hadn't answered how he had suddenly just appeared back in Sunset Bird, though to be fair, you'd been too astounded to actually ask the question. Look at him, he's so fucking cute! Thankfully, Cove took the hint from your stunned expression and began to explain. I got in about 15 minutes ago, no one was home, so I figured I'd come in the usual way. The window. A small smile had formed on his face. You were still staring at him, unable to blink in case he disappeared. You could still barely believe he was really here, a mere feet away from you. God damn it. Why does my mouth make up, like, letters that aren't there? I left my bags in your backyard. I hope that's alright. He just left his bags on the ground and hopped up here. That was when you truly understood. Cove had come straight to you upon getting back in town. You were his first port of call, taking precedence above all else. Not even his dad, but that's so cute. Even though you hadn't been in when he called, Cove had ensured that he'd see you at your earliest opportunity rather than allowing his plans to change. He just hung out in here. Kiss the boy. You laughed. The realization made you bashful. You shook your head at his antics. You stayed frozen, the shock yet to melt away. You walked over to join him. You ran to him. Go to him. Every second after from him was a moment too long. Oh, every second away from him. As you approached, Cove quickly hopped from the windowsill to meet you. Hug! Hug the boy! You're too crazy. I'm so glad you're here. I miss you. Trouble's back in town. I couldn't believe my eyes. You're the most amazing man in the world. You didn't need to say anything. I'm so glad you're here. Oh no, I missed you. You ruffled his hair. You wrapped him in a gentle embrace. You pulled him into a bone-crushing hug. Yes, I did. You jumped into his arms. Always kiss the boy. Always kiss the boy. Them's the rules. He instinctively began to close his eyes and your face leaned in closer to his. He knows what's up. We've been dating for years. Yes! It's not weird anymore. It's so cute. You did it on his forehead. You did it on his nose. On his cheek. Go for it. He met you partway and the two of you shared a gentle greeting kiss. It's so cute. You then stepped back a bit. Cove rubbed at the side of his head and figured... furtively? Whatever. Though he couldn't help getting a little nervous still, he was beaming. Oh, he's so cute! I missed you too. Yes! Even if he hadn't said it outright, you would have gotten the message from his body language. Cove was grinning widely. He raised cheeks, bearing eyes, which gleamed like hidden gems. Oh, he's so cute. But he looked at you as if you were the most exciting treasure of... Oh, God. How was the trip? Cove's brows creased as he considered your question. He leaned in and kissed you. Ooh! Hello. After a long moment, he broke the kiss and tilted his face back just enough to speak, but not so much that your forehead stopped touching. Oh, it's so cute! I hated it. Let's never be apart again. Oh my god! He said that absolutely as a joke, an exaggeration, something that wasn't a real request, of course. And yet, despite all that, it felt real. I'm sure it's like half real, right? Like, yeah, I don't like being away from you, but, you know, whatever. Your heart hammered in your chest, your head swam, cast adrift in the tide of thoughts and adrenaline. Oh god, keep it together. Cove smiled as if offering a silent apology for his sudden onslaught of tender. No, don't apologize, it's cute. But he let the words proudly hang in the air. He's so cute. Cove told you about how his trip back had gone. Soon you'd even recovered enough to actually listen. His mom was doing really well. She had a project in the works that she was thrilled about. As a result, Cove was going to be sticking around in Sunset Bird for the time being. Yes. Things were settled as much as they ever could be. With Cove back once more, you felt at ease. Cove stretched his arms out over his head, his eyes on the window and the world beyond. The sun set while you'd been busy reuniting. Ooh, put that in quotes.
Well,
I should probably get my stuff and see Dad. Oh yeah, you didn't tell your dad you were home. He glanced over at you with a familiar, expectant look. Do you want me to come? I'll say hi to your dad. Wanna come? Yeah! You know I do. No, but I'll walk you downstairs. Sure, I can go over in a little... Yeah, you know I fucking do.
cool.
Cool. Cove began to head to your bedroom. You're gonna get caught. I'll just follow him. I did the piggyback ride thing before. Even though that would be cute. No, don't be annoying. Just follow him. The two of you casually went down to the ground floor of your... Oh yeah, nobody saw him enter. They're gonna be like, how the fuck did Cove get here? In all the excitement of Cove's return, you hadn't even remembered the gift you'd prepared for him when he got back. It'd be best to give it to him now before he left your house. Oh, yes! Can you wait here for a little while? I got something for you. Cove tilted his head, intrigued.
Really?
Really? You nodded with some eagerness, trying to imagine how he'd react when he actually saw it. You bought Cove something special. The gift you chosen had been something you could buy. Yes, I always like crafted stuff. It was the orange shell he'd been entranced with since you were kids, the white poppy from the hill behind your house, something you made yourself. I'll go with, I think I gave him the shell last time because I thought that was like cute. But we'll go with something I made myself. You rushed upstairs to collect the gift you'd made for him. It was the end product of hours of labor, including thinking about Cove, what he meant to you, and what would bring him the most joy. So cute. A scrapbook you put together, a drawing you created, a painting you created, a decorative... I have tried sculpting. It's a whole bitch. A piece of writing you penned. Alright. This is me. This is literally what I do. It's one of these two, but I can't really paint, but I would if I could. It would be a drawing I made. Your heart skipped a beat as you picked it up, excitement growing. As you looked down at the drawing, you hurried back down to Cove. Give him his gift. Tell him you love him. You carefully made the trip back downstairs. Cove looked up at you as you approached. Not wanting to put it off any longer, you hopefully held out your gift to him. He's so cute! It's this drawing! How is he so fucking ripped for a fucking 19-year-old? Cove's eyes widened as he took it in. Did you make that for me? His words were faint. I did? Of course I did. Cove smiled, blinking rapidly as he shook his head. You went to that much effort? What? He grinned, tearing his glossy eyes away from your pet long enough to look at you. Oh, why you cry? I can't believe you. I'll take really, really good care of it. Oh, hug the boy. He cradled the gift in his fingers as he took it from your hands. It's irreplaceable! Cove laid the gift safely on the counter, but you didn't turn back to face you once he had ensured it was safe. Oh, he's like blushing. He's so cute. Though his face was angled away from you, you caught his eyelashes fluttering as if baiting away tears. His throat bobbed and he swallowed. He's so emotional. It's so cute. You knew that Cove could be sentimental. The gift and all the memories and feelings tied up in it seemed to have taken a toll. Oh, tired baby? Want hugs? More hugs. When he began to sniffle, you felt the need to reach out. Hug? Cove? I can't. You just little... I don't know what to do. It's okay, baby. He forcefully scrubbed his eyes like he was trying to push the tears that threatened to spill back in. It's okay. Do you need to cry? Are you good, baby? No! Oh! Nevertheless, the tears began to spill down his cheeks. Even as he wiped them away, more took their place. He is... Oh my gosh. Are you good, baby? Thank you. His voice quavered? I thought that was quivered, but it's a... Cove reached out. You gladly stepped forward to meet him. He laid his warm hands against your cheeks and brought his lips to you. So cute. You kissed Cove until the need for air finally won out. Head spinning, you were glad of the security of Cove's hands. Oh my god, they're so fucking cute. Even after your lips had parted, Cove remained close, his hands still framing a... We're in my living room, though. I hope my parents aren't down here. They're gonna, like, walk in on us. You're welcome. Don't worry about it. You're such a crybaby. You didn't need words, as you quietly accepted his appreciation. You're welcome. Cove let out a steady breath. It was far removed from the shaky gasp that had accompanied his sniffles. The tears had dried. I mean, we can keep kissing until all of the tears are completely gone. That's okay with me. His eyes were a little red, but only and at peace, but open and at peace once again. He smiled, fully recovered from the emotion that had overcome him. You're really seriously too nice to me. You smiled back. I don't think there's such a thing as too nice when it comes to you. I want to give you everything. Take it all. Cove brushed his hand against the pale ghost of a scar on his arm. He was at a loss for what to do now. The clock ticked away, counting the seconds of silence. Oh, we gotta go see your dad and get your bag out of my backyard before something takes it. Once you'd had a chance to settle your thoughts, you figured you'd tell Cove the intriguing news. I meant to tell you earlier. I saw Silo today.
Huh?
Silo. Cove repeated the name, his expression blank. Yeah, he'd only known him for like a month. From when we were kids. Cove pondered for a moment and then snapped his fingers. I'm surprised he remembers. Oh, he was the freckly boy from the first summer, right? The one who moved. I met a guy named Silo. He looked just like the Silo we knew, plus however many years. But he didn't remember me and just left. Cove oh, he looks so cute with his eyes narrow. That's, I don't know. Too bad I missed it, though you knew him better than I did. That's true. That was definitely true. Not only had Cove known Silo for an even shorter period of time, but he and Silo had never quite gotten along. Sad. Not that they were enemies either, just kids who were only ever together because of other people they both knew. I wonder what Silo's up to these days. College field trip, or high school field trips apparently. I have no idea, he didn't say much. Oh. That was everything you had, that news item, so you moved on to the next big news. Also, you know the mean old neighbors? The ones who would always yell at us? He cringed, recalling those particular memories of back in the day was not pleasant even for someone as nostalgic as him. Yeah? They're not coming. They didn't rent the condo this year. Cove's jaw dropped. You didn't blame him. The elderly couple had been in had been an institution for as far back as you could remember, long predating Cove's arrival. Even now, as a teenager, you found your neck prickling as you walked by their condo, half expecting to be scolded or breathing the wrong way in the vicinity of their vacation home. It was strange to think of that coming to an end. Wow. Cove blinked, clearly struggling with the idea in the same way you had. I didn't see that coming. People being gone, people coming back. It feels like I've missed a lot. This has been a busy summer already. Well, you haven't missed the fireflies. They haven't shown up yet. Well, that's something we'd better not get left behind. There's still stuff to do. You nodded. The two of you headed out and traced the most familiar path you'd ever walk. Yeah. The trip across the road over to Coast. Yes, the whole 20 feet. It seemed that no sooner had the night begun that it was already at an end, and the dawn of a new day was soon upon you. The next morning, your belly was full of breakfast, and you were in a pleasant mood. You hoped the rest of the day followed suit. Later, you were meeting up with your friends, Cove, Miranda, and Terry, to go into town. It was all on short notice, but that was because everyone was just so excited that Cove was finally back home. Having a nice daydream? Thinking about your boyfriend? You blinked, pushing all of your thoughts away and returning to reality. Your mom was watching you with a teasing smile. So, what's on the agenda today? I'm meeting up with some people. Well, I hope you and your friends have fun. Don't get into too much trouble. She winked at you. You knew both of your moms wanted you to enjoy every bit of the summer before all of the big changes started. I'll try. But before you could go gallivanting around town, could you bring the mail in? I'm finishing up putting the dishes away over here. Alright. As soon as you were outside your front door, you couldn't help but see Cove and his dad standing around the road. They noted, "Hi, Cove's dad! Hello!"
Hey.
"Hey there, little." Cove smiled lightly and waved. When you began making your way over, he added, "Hi." You waved at him, you hugged him, you gave him a high five, you gave him okay. I feel like I shouldn't be doing this in front of his dad. Is that too much? We'll hold back on that this is the one and only time. Because I don't want to embarrass him in front of his dad. We're just gonna go in for the hug. Melting into his arms, Cove held you tightly until you were ready to let go. His eyes shone brightly with so much adoration that you feared your heart might stop. Even after all this time, being with him hadn't got any less thrilling. You noticed Mr. Holden was taking out in the scene of you and Cove with a self-satisfied smile. Cove followed your line of sight and shot his dad an unimpressed look. For a moment, Mr. Holden seemed like he had a thought dancing on the tip of his tongue, but then decided to keep it to himself. So what are you up to today? As far as I know, nothing too much. Me and Cove are meeting some friends in town later. Sounds like a plan to me. Yawning, Mr. Holden stretched his arms over his head. My boy and I have been waiting around to see what the new neighbors are like. It was definitely his idea. I don't know how you're interested in this. It's big news. How you're not interested in this, it's big news. Besides, it'll only be polite to greet the new folks, and you can just not, actually. You don't have to do... He's that neighbor. And I'm like, you can just ignore people. Especially in, like, a summer home. Like, they don't care. Maybe it'll be a single dad and his son. You've been here too long. If seeing a new person rent a condo is what you consider an exciting development. Yes, I'm dying to see the newcomers. Your response is just a shrug. I don't want to meet him. Well, everyone has to be better than the tenants last time. For several moments, Mr. Holden was unable to answer. He was laughing and silently shaking his head. You might be onto something. You're getting old! Cove put a reassuring hand on his dad's shoulder.
Don't worry about it.
You can still make the most of your day before it's too late.
What?
How old do you think I am? I'm not that old. He's really not. He's gotta be like 40-something, maybe. Mr. Holden took one more glance at the current vacant building and sighed dramatically. When he turned back to you and Cove, his whole body seemed deflated. There's no sign of him, and I still need to head over to work soon. Cove gave his dad a few reassuring pats on the back. Okay, I promise to keep an eye out. I can text you if anything happens. Really?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, only until I have to meet up with Terry and Miranda. Would that still work? With a wide grin breaking out on his face, Mr. Holden looked absolutely thrilled to have his nosiness enabled. God damn it. That works. He moved to firmly place both hands over Cove's shoulders, fixing his child with a firm stare. Son, you are my true ally in this world. Mr. Holden stood up straighter, letting Cove go. He looked reinvigorated. Okay, with that settled, I'll go make some money. That's always been the one thing I do best. Oh? Oh my. Mr. Holden headed off to the garage with a big wave goodbye. Cove smiled the whole time. You both watched his dad leave. You really liked Mr. Holden. Mr. Holden was one of your favorite people. Cove's dad was kind of a bother. You had mixed... He is one of my favorite people. He always tried his best and was honestly just great. Yes, he is! As soon as he was out of sight, Cove sighed slightly. Sorry, baby. You alright?
Yeah.
Yeah, just not looking forward to waiting. I guess I'll be hanging around in the street a while. I'll hang with you. To nobody's surprise. Good luck. See you later. Bye. I'll stick around and see the new neighbor. Why don't I stay to see the new neighbor and keep you company? You wouldn't abandon Cove there to ride on the road out of boredom. Or wither. Really? Of course! Oh, of course, I like keeping you company, remember? He stared at you a moment, smiling softly and thinking about his response. Hug the boy.
Me too.
I like that too. Cove put his hands on your shoulders, his thumbs absentmindedly moved in a soothing circle. He looked you in, the look in his eyes was much firmer. He was serious. Oh, okay. Little, you're my true ally. God. No. I got a fair amount of chuckles from you. He grinned, the stoicism fading into amusement.
Thank you.
I knew you'd stay for me. Oh! You're lucky to have me. It's no problem. I can't help myself. You laughed, you shook your head, you simply shrugged. You're lucky to have me. Teasingly, Cove raised an eyebrow. You're the most lucky guy in all of Sunset Bird. Luckiest. Alright, now you're laying it on a little too thick. For a moment, you weren't sure if Cove was laughing at your declaration or that you momentarily forgot the word luckiest. Either way, you didn't mind. The smile on his face reached his eyes and it made you feel electric. We're gonna make out on the sidewalk. And then he let go of you. Cove stepped over to his front porch steps, lazily taking a seat and leaning back on his arms. Our watch begins. I still have to get the mail. Nodding in agreement, you joined Cove on the front porch steps. You both sat there in a comfortable familiarity as you settled in for the waiting game of the new tenants. The neighborhood was quiet and you sighed contently, closing your eyes and feeling the light breeze. Eventually, you both perked up at the sound of a car. A taxi followed the noise, turning onto your street. Cove's eyebrows raised at the sight, and he sat up straight on the stoop.
Oh?
This has to be them, right? Yeah, it's gotta be. Now that they were here, You couldn't help but feel just a bit curious. You wondered what kind of person would be living in the neighborhood for the summer. The taxi pulled to a stop as you expected in front of the now empty condo. It was on the same side of the street as your house, a few buildings further up. Without getting to his feet, Cove tried to lean and tilting his head to get a view of the passenger door as it opened. The single occupant exited the cab. Huh? You could feel what Cove was in that moment. After the last renters, this new visitor was definitely not exactly what you expected. It was a young man, had to be close to your own age. He was dressed fully in an eclectic black and white gray outfit. Even his side-swooping hair matched the skin. Yeah, he is, matching. The only other pop of color was from something that couldn't easily be fashioned into submission, a pair of dark brown eyes, which you caught when he looked over at his audience. What's up, boyo? Hello, folks. Who might you be? We're the neighbors. The smile, already prominent on his face, curled further. It was cocky, but you didn't get the impression it meant something adverse. I love this fucking guy, by the way. He's kind of weird, but, like, I really, really like him. Hallelujah. You and Cove shared a familiar look with one another, bewildered even further. The color-coordinated man left it there, however, and with a firm click and shut the door of his ride, he then turned his back to you to retrieve a large, unsurprisingly black suitcase from the trunk. Why are we surprised that it's black? Or, I mean, unsurprised, but, like, why are we judging him for that? Continuing on with his own business, he strolled forward and lightly tapped the driver's side window with his knuckles, asking for them to roll it down, so he can pay his dude. When it opened, he leaned back and rested his arms on the edge. You assumed he was thanking the driver for getting him there, considering he slipped them a tip during the brief chat. This kid is suave. They shook hands, and then he pushed himself up and away from the taxi with both arms, giving the driver room to leave. The taxi pulled away, rolling carefully down the road and out of sight around the corner. The new renter had officially arrived. He left his suitcase on the ground, out of the way of the street, and sauntered over your way with confidence of someone who had been invited to join. That's okay, I'll invite you to join. I want to get to know you. You're cool. Cove finally stood up to greet this person, and you followed suit.
Excellent.
I'm Baxter Ward. It's excellent to meet you, neighbors. Hi, Baxter. You were standing on the side he was approaching from. When Baxter got close enough, he offered you his hand first. He offered his hand to you first. Lol. You shook it. You offered a low five. You held your arms open for a hug. We're not that close. You kept it. I will shake it. That's appropriate. Baxter gripped your hand firmly and gave a satisfying shake. We don't go in for hugs for strangers. It's a little weird. Hi, Baxter. I'm Little. Hi, Little. I'm quite keen on getting to know you better this summer. Ooh, we could be good for. I'm taken. I wasn't last time, so that was funny, but I'm taken now. From your other side, Cove had a sudden sputtering noise. And you are? He lifted his hand out to Cove next. Cove instead crossed his arms and expressed his rejection of that idea, still eyeing Baxter carefully. He's being an anime protagonist. I'm Cove. Baxter's whole demeanor lit up for unknown reasons, his eyes shone as he studied Cove a moment. Hey! Watch those eyes. Now wait, is that a nickname or your real name? It's just my name. Cove spoke mildly, having given that explanation many times in the past, but clearly charmed Baxter all the same. He tossed his head to one side and laughed. Your parents knew exactly what they were doing. I can't imagine a more fitting name for the face I'm seeing. Cove, that's gorgeous. I love him, even though he's like competitive bisexual, rival bisexual. It's really not. No, I agree, it suits you. Hey, only I get to fluster him. It's a lot considering you're talking to a stranger, Baxter. It didn't know what to say, he's taken. There's a part of me that wants to pick it because it'll be funny, but I don't actually like want to pick that option. I almost want to do a save state thing because I want to see what this does, but I don't want to take the time to do that because I want to pick this one. I just want to pick that one because I agree, I love his name. I do want to see what this said. Just... We'll go right back. It'll be fine. Ah, that's disappointing, but not surprising. I'm guessing he's yours. His face!
Yes.
Yes! Little is my girlfriend.
I get it.
Oh, that's crushing, but makes sense. I got here too late, obviously. Though really, I didn't mean to intrude on anything you have. I'm patently against stepping on anyone's toes. Okay. That's all I wanted. Okay. No, I agree, it suits you. Nice to see someone else knows the impact might have faded for you, living with it for so long, but I promise to onlookers, it's a knockout. We can both flirt with him, it's okay. Cove couldn't face either of you after that. His cheeks were quickly turning bright red with Oh, baby. You noticed that Baxter looked apologetically over Cove's increasing discomfort. Oh, no, it's okay. I'm sorry, I wasn't intending to mean more than I did. I like your name, but you don't have to mind that. I'm patently against stepping on anyone. Yeah, I knew that's where it stopped. Okay, cool. He chuckled to himself. It seemed like there was some extra meaning hidden there in his words, and you noticed that Cove raised an eyebrow, picking up on the... Oh, right, I remember. Baxter didn't even open his eyes to see your faces to know he had some filling to do. What? He stood up straighter, striking a slight pose with the position of his feet. I'm a ballroom dancer, hence the phrasing. I see. Oh, I don't know much about dancing, but that's pretty cool. It's not hard once you get the basics down. Cove didn't look convinced at all. Baxter took that as a cue to keep talking. Well, he grinned in a way that was rapidly becoming familiar to you. Either of you are ever looking for a partner, I'm available. Oh? Cove peeked at you, smiling softly. You felt his familiar touch as he squeezed your hand for a moment. We're good. I mean, I'm not opposed to like a third. I already have a partner. Little is the only one I'd want to dance with. Sorry, she's my girlfriend. Ah! It's so cute. You're both together. Is it surprising? Yeah, we are. Now that's crushing, but makes sense. I got here too late. Should have taken a semester off sooner.
I get it.
That's a joke. Really, I didn't mean to intrude on anything you have with... No, you're fine, baby. We're good. I'll take you up on that offer sometime. I'd rather not. You didn't answer the question. Exactly. Cove is the guy I'd dance with. See ya. I love this. But my whole thing is that, like, I have no problem with, like... I just... I don't want to, like, send the wrong message to Cove, you know? Not that I think he would. I'll take you up on that offer sometime. Cove rolled his eyes at your agreement coming right after his refusal.
Does that sound
I
alright?
really am qualified to give lessons.
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine. After that, there was a lull in conversation and Cove attempted to fill it. Oh, Cove was trying to fill the... Ooh, okay.
So,
What made you decide on Sunset Bird? Oh yes, well, my parents rented a condo, so I had a place to stay while I was off for a semester from college and not living in the dorms. All these kids are so fucking rich. There was a playful glint in Baxter's eyes as he continued.
Honestly.
Ideally, they wanted to send me somewhere that wasn't too exciting, but lucky for me, they picked the wrong street considering the two of you live here. Oh, I really like him, actually. Baxter then preemptively lifted his hand up in front of his chest, giving a gesture for meaning no harm. It's nice not to be the only one my age around the neighborhood for an entire summer, nothing more. It's just the way he talks. That was a story you had heard before, the same one as when Lonely Cove and his dad moved in all those years ago. Cove wasn't relating still. You could have phrased it like that in the first place. It's just how he talks. I don't feel the need to keep words of praise to myself. But they're not romantic come-ons. I see that you two are very much committed pair. I'd like to be friends if we can, but that's all. I'll be friends. It's okay. He is much nicer this time, and I find that really strange. Because he's supposed to be, like, kind of cold and standoffish to people, or at least that's what it said. But when I did this last time, he would just not interact with Baxter. He just wanted nothing to do with it. Baxter talked to me most of the time. It doesn't bother me. I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that with me. I find it pretty entertaining and probably annoying a lot of people. You stood there. It doesn't bother me. I can see. Glad we're working things out. Shifting his weight to his other foot, Baxter tried to move forward. So, which condo's yours? How long have you been living together? Oh, Cove sputtered again and unintentionally a laugh escaped you. We're both your neighbors, but we live in different houses with our parents. As if second nature, the two of you pointed at your houses and buildings across the street from one another. Baxter's eyebrows raised at that. He's like, oh, you guys get up to some shit, don't ya? Your neighbors who started dating. It's a long story. What a couple of lovebirds. You're the backbone of romantic society. Oh my god. Honestly, I hope you never break up. If you can make it work, there might be a chance for the rest of... I love him. He's so silly. You knew Cove well enough to tell there was a little bit of amusement in his expression, but he sighed in exasperation. After that, you had no doubts about his claims of being complimentary. You were really starting to get a kick out of it. Yeah, I do like him. Well, if either of you are free, I'd be thrilled to hang out this summer. But we can save the scheduled talk for later. I should get my things inside. Come hang out. You can hang out with us now. We're gonna go see some friends. He gave a small nod of the head and flashed you both a dazzling smile.
Goodbye.
Goodbye for today. Bye, boy. Cove simply waved goodbye. Goodbye, rival bisexual. Baxter then turned on his heels and strolled back to his suitcase, picking it up and bringing it to his condo. You and Cove were silent as Baxter unlocked the door and disappeared inside his house. With him completely out of the scene, Cove let out a long breath. Stressed? Are you, baby?
Well,
I don't know how I'm gonna explain that guy to my dad. You burst into a fit of laughter, trying to imagine the conversation. At least the job is done. We saw the new neighbor, and we can go meet him with Terry and Miranda. Yeah, we should get going. You gave Baxter's condo one last glance over your shoulder. You were looking forward to seeing more of him. You thought he was charming. You were not interested in him. You weren't sure how to feel. Yeah. Baxter was different, but you liked him. Smiling, you hoped he would become good friends this summer. Turning your attention back to Cove, he pushed all his thoughts of Baxter aside. You both started making your way towards town. You took his hand, you took his arm, you walked next to him side by side. We might not even get to like some of the little episodes because this is so long. You slid your palm into his and Cove laced his fingers with yours, his expression instantly becoming happier, and he lightly squeezed your hand. A little while later, you and Cove reached the main street in town. All of a sudden, you stopped walking. What's wrong? I think I felt my phone vibrate. You dug your cell phone out and looked at it with a satisfied grin. There was a new message. Before you could read it, you were distracted by a small, amused noise from Cove. His head was slightly tilted to the side so he could carefully look at your old keychain. I can't believe you still have that. Of course I do, I love it. You shouldn't be surprised. Well, someone was crazy enough to get it for me. I may as well use it. You shrugged, you quietly blushed at him, pointing it out. You grinned, looking at the keychain fondly. He laughed, remembering the day he bought it for you. So cute. Baxter's right. They're the epitome of adorable romance babies. I am actually glad you like it. He looked from the keychain to you, and his smile reaching his eyes. It makes me happy seeing you care about it and everything. Of course. And that makes me happy. Smiling, you refocused on the task at hand. You opened the new text from Miranda, and all you saw was, "I can see you." Immediately from where you stood, you started swiveling your head around. You couldn't spot Miranda anywhere, but she did send you one more message. Oh, more messages. I saw you holding Cove's hand. Scandalous. You didn't even capitalize his name. Where are you? Come on. Really, Randy? The message was sent and you went back to looking around, scanning for any sign of movement in familiar faces. But they were still invisible. Cove looked at you carefully, raising an eyebrow. Oh, I turned auto off by accident. I was waiting for it to change. Miranda coming out. You sighed at the ridiculousness. You burst into laughter at her antics. You sent your own joking text. You grabbed onto Cove again, wanting to show Miranda how scandalous you could be. Let's give them a show. At once you hooked your arm around Cove's neck, still holding your phone, and brought him closer to you. He blushed and gave you a look mixed with amusement and confusion. Seriously, little, what did that message even say? I'm like so short to him, I would have had to have like jumped and grabbed him. Before you could even begin explaining anything to Cove, you both snapped your attention to the yelling from across the street. And there you saw Miranda and Terry coming out from behind the backside wall of the grocery store. They both started waving widely to draw even more attention to themselves. Wildly. No, widely. That's right. Oh. With your friend's grand entrance made, Cove seemed to realize the joke. He smiled with a sigh, and you let him go for a moment, chuckling. He took a step in their direction. He grinned and waited for them to get closer. Laughing an arm in arm, the girls stopped only to look both ways and then rushed across the empty street. Hi, I hope you weren't waiting too long. Hey, Miranda.
Hey, buddies.
Hey. Hi. Hi. That joke was not funny. I'm amazed. How did you appear out of nowhere like that? Hey, I'm so happy to see you two. I thought you both knew better than to jaywalk. Wordlessly you waved. Hi. You were happy to see your friends. Their little tease on you is already long forgotten in your mind. It's probably normal. Terry had closed the distance between you and Cove and crushed him in a painfully tight hug. You're finally here. It's been so long. What took you? He did his best to eke out a reply with his chest being compressed. Sorry. Eventually, she let him go. Terry looked at him with a beaming smile, but Cove was distracted, rubbing his arms. Standing there, Miranda shifted her weight to her other hip. She watched Cove patiently with a bashful smile. Welcome back. Thanks. He's so cute. It finally felt official. Everyone was together in one place. From here, you weren't sure how often you'd have another afternoon like this again. They didn't either.
So,
Cove. Terry poked Cove square in the chest. You're gonna have to get me your schedule for this time yesterday. Oh, by this time yesterday.
no way.
Not really possible, Terry, but I can say as soon as I know. So far, work hasn't said anything, but I can tell you I'm busy with Orca activities. When Cove wasn't at his part-time job, or pursuing his academic interests, he volunteered for Ocean Restoration California affiliation, Orca. The group focused on cleaning up beaches and removing pollution from the ocean. Cove always loved the sea. It didn't surprise you one bit when he started getting involved with them. It was Cove's activity. You joined Orca too after learning about it. You were an Orca member in it. Yeah. Their big smash event of the year is coming up, isn't it? Yeah, there's not that much more to do before then, but I'm kind of looking forward to the fundraising push. Hopefully we can pull it off. If anyone can do it, it's you two, and even if it goes really bad, it'll still look good on a college application at least. That's true. Hey, guess what else? We don't have to stand here and say stuff. Let's go I would like a meal now. Perking up, Cove nodded in agreement. Yeah, for sure. The four of you headed into town, happily chatting the whole way. The only decision left to make was where exactly to stop and eat. The rest of the afternoon and evening passed by in the blink of an eye. When night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terry. Jesus. My eyes like actually went cross-eyed. I just couldn't focus. You and Cove reached your neighborhood without event. It was late enough that your out-of-the-way street was dark and silent. You were walking tiredly after such a long day. You strolled with a skip in your step. You ambled along. Cove was giving you a piggyback. What is it with the piggyback rides? Let the poor boy chill. Even though I think that's cute, but like... You yawned, stretching your arms high above your head. It was taking a lot of mental focus to keep up and walking alongside. Oh my god, especially when you're so much shorter than him. One of his strides is like 3 of yours, and you're like... As you did so, you peered at his face out of the corner of your eye. You wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. Baby. For a while, Cove silently stared ahead and left you alone with your own thoughts. It surprised you when you did hear his voice all of a sudden. He still wouldn't look at you. It feels weird coming back to the neighborhood and trying to get into things like they're the same, and they're not. They've changed. They're still changing. Your mouth felt uncontrollably dry all of a sudden. It was true. The things that kept the people you knew together were starting to disappear. Each person had to make their own priorities and their own path now, and it wasn't set for them. You thought about your own immediate future. You had been considering more and more. The ideas were starting to settle in your mind. You hoped to go to school full-time, to go to school part-time, to work full-time, to work part-time, to focus on time that's not school or work. For yourself, you wanted to work on self-improvement on your own, take time to relax, try and figure out what you truly want. And for that, you wanted to stay local, go to a different part of the state, go out of state, go abroad, travel around to different places. That was the dream, man. That's still the dream. It's just not gonna happen, more than likely. It'd all be happening so soon. You had already made plans for the trip. You started to prepare for what was coming. You hadn't begun to do anything about it that yet. You'd been open about your situation and everyone knew. You'd only spoken about this with your family and those close to you like Cove. You'd kept this one all to yourself. Cove was the only person who knew. Now you wondered what Cove had in mind. You heard him consider some things for his future, but never anything that would have counted as a real plan. Making it back home, you both stepped to the middle of the street. Cove sighed. Cove looked at the ground for a moment, his mouth trembling, trying to stay on the right words to say, trying to settle on the right English. So are you still thinking about what you want to do and stuff while traveling? Yeah. Cove closed his eyes and nodded while he composed his thoughts. He looked at you and he lifted his head. I decided on something. Well, kind of. He smiled slightly and rubbed his arm, and then his expression grew more serious. Oh? I'm not gonna decide on a school or a career, not this summer. I'm gonna stay here, at least in Sunset Bird. I'll probably move out of my dad's place. I'll keep working my job, keep doing my volunteer stuff, and everything else.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll know what I want for myself by fall, or next year, or maybe I'll never have a plan. Life will continue on with whatever's happening. I'm not gonna crush myself to have everything figured out by a timeline that somebody else has set. I just can't do it. His brow furrowed and his tone was tense. It was clear how much expectations were weighing on him. I know that's not very exciting, but it's the best I can do for right now. Sounds good to me, baby. It's more of a plan than I ever had. He laughed self-deriviously, but with the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. Sometimes you like know a word and then you go to read it and your brain is just like, wait, you don't fucking know what this word is. You smiled, you looked at him deeply, you started crying, you felt annoyed. Your plan sounds very you. I'll miss you. I wanted you to come with me. Nothing about his plan surprised you. Honestly, you felt like you should have seen it coming. But regardless, you had to support him every step of the way. He exhaled, releasing some tension in his shoulders. Thanks for hearing me out on this. But of course, baby. You knew him well enough to know that the Cove wasn't feeling completely better about the way things were. No matter what's happening, I want you to know that you won't ever lose me. I won't really be gone. Same, baby. I'll still be there for you the best I can, whether it's long distance or whatever else. Oh, it's so cute. Cove's whole expression softened. His lips pulled up into an affectionate smile.
It's okay.
Little, you deserve to have everything you want in life. You laughed at his bold declaration. Thank you, Cove. I want you to get everything you want in life. You didn't know how to respond to that. You teared up. You're the only thing I want. Damn, that's really cute. Damn, that one's really cute. I like that answer. It came out softly, almost a whisper. You could hear your heart drumming loudly in your ears. Looking at you fondly, Cove took a step closer. Ooh! And then brought a hand to your face, cupping your cheek. Dotingly, his thumb lightly brushed your skin. A shiver shot down your spine. He spoke to you softly, wholeheartedly. He meant every word. Things are hard right now. It scares me, but it'll be okay. It'll be more than okay. Now that things are up to us, we can make our lives better than they ever were. I wish. You believed him. You appreciate his attempt to put on a brave face. Ooh! Ooh, CB. You still felt unsure. You felt better after his reassurance. I believe you. No matter how daunting the future could be, he was right. You would be okay. Deeply, you met Cove's gaze and nodded. At that, his expression morphed into a look of careful confidence. Clearly, he was still struggling with this topic, and you wondered what else might be on his mind. This was a start, I think, but it's not over, is it? We'll have to keep talking about it going forward. Yeah, that's cool. Cove softly reiterated his promise. It'll be okay. We'll still always be there for each other. Is that good with you? Yes. Yes, hot boy. It is. Cool, that's cool. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, I'll see you tonight. Oh, I'll see you good night. Climb in my window anyway. He pulled you into an unexpected hug. It knocked the breath out of you, yet couldn't have been a more reassuring feeling. You returned his embrace and stayed that way for as long as you could. We could stay here all fucking night.
Good night.
Good night. He finally let go, giving you another smile. It's so cute. Then Cove started walking away, but you remained there, frozen in the middle of the street. Cute babies. You watched him and wondered, how many more times will he be able to say he'll see you tomorrow? Forever. You hoped for countless more times. Finally, you turned towards your own house. You vowed to yourself that you would make the most out of every moment you had this summer. That means always kiss the boy. Always kiss the boy. Okay. Okay. So, we're actually probably only going to have time for like one of these. Ooh. Because I don't want to stay up until like God knows what in the morning again. Hold on, let me save. Okay. We'll go ahead and do this one. And that'll probably be the end for tonight. It's just this one. This one, I think, can get pretty long. Or at least it was last time I did it. All of these bitches are long. This whole section is long. Okay. You grabbed a large beach towel from off of your bed and stuffed it into the bag. You were already packed your water bottle for your upcoming beach outing session. The stars had aligned and somehow everyone was free today. Miranda had set things up with several bubbly phone calls between you, Cove, and Terry to find a time to hit the beach. You were hoping that this would be a fun time together. Cove sat on your windowsill and kicked one of his legs into the air idly. He already had his swimsuit on, and his towel was bundled up under his arm in a misshapen ball. He'd shown up earlier that morning with a surprising amount of enthusiasm. He was chatting with you. He was chatting as you caught up to his preparation. But seriously, I couldn't find my swimsuit this morning. I looked everywhere. It had disappeared. I had no idea what I was going to do. You could have gotten a new one somewhere. What happened to all of your other swimsuits? I don't have a swim... You don't have a swimsuit. You don't... One of these days I'm gonna fucking learn English. You don't have to wear a swimsuit to a beach. Yet, it completely vanished somehow. Just like your old sand pail. I know that's not your only one. Cove looked away and shrugged. I might have some laundry to do. Damn it, Cove. Anyway, I don't know why it was in the bathroom when I never put it there. He gave a small smile and readjusted the towel in his arms. You know he could see that it had been folded at some point, but then rolled up and carried without much care.
I'm so glad.
But I was just glad I found it. It would have been crappy to lose my favorite trunks. It was nice to see Cove so happy and comfortable in what he was wearing. You walked over to your dresser and mused about how you had picked out your own swimsuit. Your height had complicated your swimsuit shopping. Not many swimsuits were well-fitting on someone who's petite, and then for the shape of your body. You were heavy-set, you were chubby, you had curves, you were generally medium, you were slender, you were scrawny. And you had noticed muscles, you had a little muscle definition, your body was soft, your body was delicate. It was soft. It was smooth feel in your build without any hard muscles, even if you flexed. You'd kept mostly the same shape you had throughout your teenage years. You were used to your body, and your body was used to your habits. Which is eating cookies.
Are you okay?
You alright? Oh yeah, I was thinking about some things. What things? Just myself and my body, really? Just that I'm short and I have a wide waist and big titties. Like, it makes shopping a bitch. His eyebrows rose at your admission of self-reflection. And what do you think? What did you think of who you were? You considered your identity further. You had always felt sure about your gender. You wondered if your gender was really something you felt right about. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Being called her was right for you. And you had small boobs. Your breasts were not exactly small, but not huge either. You were well endowed. In the past, you... Oh. True to life. Let's go. Your boobs were a large part of your frame. Jesus. You liked the size you had. You wish they were smaller and might get a reduction. Oh, I had a friend like that. That sucks. You wish that they were bigger and might get implants. Ooh, Jesus. You used a binder, but we're also considering other options. You left them as they were, but we're considering options for them. I will just say they're fine, right? Like, it's alright. People had a lot of their identity wrapped up in their physical form. It shaped their self-image. You were confident with yours, you were comfortable with yours, you weren't really content with yours, you hated your body, you knew you had gender dysphoria. It's fine. There were things you didn't like. You didn't hate it per se, but it wasn't all that you wanted it to be either. You had pretty much always been unhappy with your body. Even when you were younger, it felt off, and it still hadn't changed. It didn't feel like who you wanted to be. You focused on Cove again, his smile at you and tilting his head, a question still in his eyes. He was waiting for you to come to an answer, but before you could, you had something to say to him. What do you think about me? Do you like the way I look, right? Oh, you like the way I look, right? What do you think? About how I look, I mean. Cove frowned, his eyebrows furrowing in concern, as if he were trying to find the best words to say. Don't worry, there's not a wrong answer here, technically. Then his eyes warmed like he was looking at something truly special. No. No matter what anybody thinks, you, me, anyone, you are still wonderful. It just can't be helped. It's a fact of life. You're so fucking cute when you're wrong. Cove stopped speaking and looked at you for a moment. He kicked his feet as he considered something and then nodded with a thoughtful expression on his face. He stared forward and directly met your eye. Don't. I'm intimidated. I've known you for a long time, since we were kids, you know. I've seen you just about every day for the past decade, so I think it's fair for me to say this.
It's nice.
Each day you're different from before, just by a little bit, but you're also still the same. You're always you. It's nice to see you keep developing as a person. Aww, he's so nice. I do want you to keep being you, but the only one who gets to decide who that is you. That's nice. You choose who you are today, you get to choose who you are tomorrow. That's okay with me. I love him! He's so nice! He's so sweet! Thank you, you smiled with tears. It's same with you. You didn't know how to react to them. I almost never cry around him, but that was really cute. It is the same with him, though. I want to see his reaction if I cry, though. Because I've never cried in front of him, I don't think. I actually like it better. I'm happy I've gotten to watch you grow, and I think you're amazing. Cove looked touched by that.
Hey.
Hey, little. Cove gave a bent smile, pointing at your arms. You're looking particularly shapely today. What does that mean? He answered not with words, but with a solid okay sign, with both hands, and a cheeky okay, don't. Cove suddenly flushed when he realized how boldly he complimented you. He stood by it, even if he was a little red. You were still taken aback. That came out of nowhere. You glanced at yourself. You like that? Yeah. Ah! You started my shoulder. You flirtatiously stretched. You stood there stunned. You're so sweet and fantastic. You have some very good arms yourself. You hugged him. I want to hug him, but I also want to tease. I want to tease. You fluttered your eyelashes and slowly stretched your arms out in front of you towards him. Your sleeve fell down, but instead of fixing it, you let it stay that way. You looked Cove straight in the eyes as you openly displayed your arms. Scandalous. These kids, dude. Little, this is too much for me to witness. Not that serious. Cove hopped up from his seat and fluttered his hands in front of you, gesturing for the display to stop, laughing the whole time. You thought on some level he might not have been fully kidding around at that. He was flustered. You gave the poor guy a break and put the goods back down. He exaggeratedly wiped his brow and let himself fall back into place on the windowsill. They flirting, it's so silly. Finally, you felt that it was enough of that topic for one day. It fell back to your original goal before you got sidetracked. You needed to pick what you wanted to wear to the beach. You chose casual clothes instead. You picked a one-piece swimsuit. You decided to wear a two-piece bikini. Fuck no. Ooh, that's comfy. That's comfy clothes, though. While you dug around in your drawers, you tried to think of where was anything else you were missing. I always like doing that combination better because so you go to the beach and you're usually not just like always on the beach. You'll usually do boardwalk stuff too. So it's good to have like pants. You took sunglasses, you grabbed a hat, you brought a shawl, you grabbed your board shorts. You picked out a regular shirt to wear as well. You grabbed a full swimsuit cover-up to wear as well. Oh, I forgot that this was one of the options. With that taken care of, you held your outfit together to look at Cove. He was tapping his toes on the side of the wall as you waited. You vaguely wondered if he thought that was a comfortable place to sit. You hope so, given how long he'd perched on it. Regardless, it was time for him to go. You weren't going to put on your beachwear with him just chilling there. Why not? We're 19. It's fine. Well, I'm gonna change, so how about you wait outside? Cove nodded, reassuring. Alright. Cove lowered himself off the window and strolled past you to get to the door. He lightly brushed his fingers against your cheek as he passed by. Ooh!
Bye.
I'll see you out front. You too, baby. Oh my god. When you were alone, you got undressed and put your swimwear on. You also checked your beach bag for the final time, and it seemed like you hadn't forgotten anything. She did say she was bringing sunscreen, right? You have to have sunscreen. I am actually a pale bitch. You left your room and hurried down the stairs, ready to meet Cove. You made sure to lock your front door and outside. We haven't seen much of the moms and walked outside. I kind of miss my moms. I'm sure they'll show up. They show up later in a couple of them. Cove stood in the road, looking down and scuffing his feet on the asphalt. When you shut your heavy door, he looked at you and smiled. Hi, baby. Hey. Hi. Miranda and Terry are gonna be there in not too long. Terry even texted me earlier saying she was almost on schedule. She was mostly on schedule.
Well,
Why don't we just head to the beach and wait for them there? We're both ready. That sounded like a good idea to you. You said as much, and Cove shot off a quick text telling the two of them they would be where you'd be. Cove gave you a thumbs up after the message was sent. It was a familiar path to walk, and wasn't long until you reached the shore. Cove laid out his towel on the warm sand. You set up your stuff beside him and looked out onto the ocean. The rolling swells hit the shore rhythmically. You all had lucked out. It was a beautiful day, the sky was clear, and the waves were good. It was a balmy summer day, but oh my god. I'm so sorry. Essentially, it was perfect. I'm extra bad today. I don't know what's going on. Do you feel like heading into the water, maybe, or just walk down the shore? Or would you want to do something here? The water sounds good. Taking a stroll would be fun. I don't mind my feet being in the water. You plan to just get some sun. Either way is fine. What do you want to do? That's a stupid question. We're here for the water. That's what I'm here for anyway. Cove nodded, accepting of the plan. He kicked some sand off of his towel absentmindedly. Yeah, sounds nice. You took a deep breath and tasted the relaxing, salty air. Cove caught your eye and gave you a small smile. You chatted a little before a comfortable quiet settled over the two of you, content to watch the waves as you waited for the others. Luckily, it didn't take long until you heard shouts. You turned on your head, see both Miranda and Terry running straight to you. You turned your head. Why do I make up words? Miranda was faster, making leaps and bounds across the sand. Terry followed in her wake, laughing with her towel clutched around her shoulders, flowing like a cape. Miranda started making her jumps more theatric and more precarious as she got closer. Cove waved them on with a bright grin. You shouted a greeting, you cheered at their antics too, you waved, you laughed, you shook your head, you hoped they wouldn't fall. How's it going? The two officially arrived at Cove's and your setup, looking completely ready for the ocean adventure. They were already in their swimwear and were raring to go. Look at them, they're so cute! Hey Terry, Miranda, welcome to our beach. Hello, hello. She beamed and Miranda nodded with a smile. Man, I'm so pumped. Yeah, I'm really glad this worked out. What have you guys been up to over here in your town? Cove, Little, have we missed things? No, we haven't done anything. Cove blinked and then shrugged when nothing he wanted to mention came to mind. No, nothing's happened. You shrugged like Cove. You gave a vague answer. You gave her a recap over how your family was doing. What have you been up to? Your moms were the same as ever for the most part, although they were definitely still adjusting to you being an adult now. Liz had asked you to take pictures of her latest makeup look. The other day there was nothing too dramatic going on right now. Terry nodded along and mentioned a couple things about her own parents. Miranda brought up her family and shared some of the wild things her older brother had done. You have cute siblings? Are they as cute as you? Terry then started talking about her morning and how she'd almost overslept since she had stayed up too late last night. She bounced on her feet as she spoke. But don't worry about me being tired today. You know I ran on less back during school. Same. Apparently everything had gone smoothly. She met up with Terry on the way here. You knew the rest. Cove offered the suggestion to the girls. Hey, why don't we take this out to the water? Yeah, I want to get in the water. Oh yeah, definitely. You felt pleased that Cove remembered what you wanted to do. Sometimes he could be thoughtful, like sometimes, all the time. Terry threw her stuff down in the sand and started running for the waves. Miranda was more careful setting down her things and waited for you and Cove. Cove tilted his shoulder to gesture over to the ocean.
Alright.
I've been looking forward to this. The three of you made your way down to the shoreline together. Miranda cartwheeled and Terry clapped. Soon all four of you were in the water. Cove swam out to the furthest, while Terry instigated a splash fight. There was rarely a quiet moment where someone wasn't laughing. Hours passed and the group had moved between different activities, some low-key and some more exhaustive. For you, it was another break time. You sat on your towel and sipped for more water. Your friends were hard at work burying Terry's full body under the pile. Miranda used her arms to force up sand around Terry's sides. Cove worked on covering Terry's feet. You took another drink and closed your eyes. I'm supervising. Eventually, a shadow passed over you, dampening the light that was still notable even behind your eyelids. You checked to see Cove had joined you there. He knelt down to dig around in the pile of assorted beach stuff in the middle of everyone's towel setup and pulled out the sunscreen. He took a seat next to you on his towel and opened the bottle with a soft pop and began to reapply the cream. How responsible. Hey. He ran his hands across his chest to work the sunscreen in, and you might have checked him out a little from the corner of your eye while still sipping on some... God damn it. He noticed you noticing him, and Cove tilted his head your way as a smile formed. Don't. Would you want to help me? Yeah, I can do that for sure. Thanks. Oh my god, it's so cute. You scooted up behind your boyfriend and reached a hand around his front so he could squeeze a small pile of sunscreen into your hand. You rubbed your palms together, spreading the cream out more evenly, then began to apply it softly to his shoulder blades. It's so cute! From there, you moved to the tops of his shoulders and the napes of his neck and down his spine and made it— oh god, that would give me like the jeebies. Cove was mumbling the entire time, but you couldn't make out what he said. He might not have even realized he was doing it himself. The tone of his voice and the look on his face got the message across just fine, however. He was happy. You were too. Now do me, because I'm pasty. Well, my character isn't, but me, I am. After he, and you, finished up, Cove let out a comfortable sigh and looked off into the distance. But then he sighed again, this time in an exaggerated, disappointed way. You wondered if he was going to sigh again, even more dramatically if you didn't say anything. What's wrong? You wondered what it was, you raised an eyebrow, you chuckled, oh Cove, whatever is it, I'm sure it'll be okay. After all, this is an excellent place to hide a body. You gestured to Terry, who was practically just a hill of sand with a human head at this point. That got a quick chuckle out of him, but he quickly hid his amusement. Cove shook his head, comically despondent. His frown didn't match the sparkle in his eyes.
Don't worry about it.
I'm just becoming another jaded adult is all. Oh, okay. Now you were really confused. You waited for him to continue, and his next sigh did not disappoint. It was the most ridiculous, sad sigh you had ever heard. Then he smiled a little. Mermaids aren't real. What? That had not been what you were expecting. Bullshit, you're a mermaid. You know how much I liked mermaids as a kid? Well, merfolk as a whole, I really hoped that they were out there. I mean, the ocean's a big place, right? They could be somewhere. Pretty sure you're a descendant from one. But the older I got, the more I had to accept it. They were just a fairy tale. He jerked his hand over to the waterline and the rolling waves. They crashed against the shore and then drew back. This is a perfect beach for them. It's pretty and vast and never too crowded. A beach on California? I don't believe you. If merfolk did exist, we definitely would have met one by now. Or at least we would have heard of someone else seeing one. But nothing. He acted as though that result was a true bafflement. He let his head hang. Gotta let the dream go. You burst into laughter. That's hardly proof. It's not like this is the only beach in the world. You pretended to be shocked and disappointed. You shook your head. I like this one. They could still exist, as you said. The ocean is a big place. Cove chuckled a little to himself. eyes tilted off into the sea, his face still low. Maybe it's for the best. Let's see, a merperson did happen to wash up on shore one day. He looked at you with a faux, doleful expression. I could have lost my girlfriend to their magical underwater world. Only if I could take you with me. Oh yeah, I'd totally go live underwater with the merfolk. Even if I had a chance, I'd stay on shore with you. I'd go be a merperson, but only if you could come with us too. Cove grinned. He hadn't expected that. Why not? You're a nice person, Little. But what if they didn't want me? Would you seriously stay on land? You gave him a look. You meant what you had said. It only worked if the offer was for both of you. Are you sure that's the right call? Do you want me to leave? If a beautiful, kind merperson falls for somebody, I'm pretty positive that the sensible response isn't to turn around and say, no thanks, I'm gonna stay on land with a normal guy. Shut up! Are you warning me that you'd leave if you got to that kind of offer? Or are you so sure I'd have to make that call? Since this is hypothetical, why not have you be the merperson? I don't want that. I should get to be a mer creature, and then I'd invite you. Cove, there's no one who could ever make me leave. So this is really cute, but I really like this one. Cove turned his face to beam at you. He brightened immediately. Now we're talking. Yeah, you look like you would be a mermaid with your hair. I'd be a good merman, right? I could see it. Yes. Cove's gaze was drawn back to the water with shining eyes. For a second, one of their conversations, I thought this wasn't like a fantasy thing, but I thought it was possible that maybe he actually was a merperson. He was clearly imagining some world where he was a merman who happened upon you here at the beach. You tried to picture what he could be thinking. It would be quite a lovely story. And then you heard Miranda screech. Your attention immediately switched over to your friends. You saw that Terry had gotten impatient and shifted her legs. The walls Miranda had meticulously built collapsed into a wet heap of sand. She surveyed the damage critically. We're gonna have to start over on that part. Do you just want to give up on this now?
No way.
No way. The burial must continue. I'll try not to move anymore. Okay, if you're sure, I'll try and fix this. Miranda started to rebury her, and Terry shot a thumbs up. She realized too late that moving her arm was a bad idea. More of the sand on her crumbled, and Miranda put her head in her hand. Aww. Cove caught your eye and started to drag himself up. Seems like we're needed. You agreed to follow him over to the girls. Miranda nodded at you both with appreciation, and the three of you did your best to finish the job. She's just gonna like burst out of it eventually anyway. You all worked out a system of using just enough wet sand to help hold the rest together. With three of you, it didn't take long for Terry to be entombed. Terry grinned massively, and Miranda offered high fives. The pile was officially done. Oh yeah! And she bursts out of it. Resembling the Kool-Aid Man, she kicked herself out of the ground with gusto. Sand went flying in all directions, and Terry's shaped imprint was left behind. Yep. Miranda yelled again. Cove chuckled. There probably wasn't a better way to get out of it. That's true. The four of you continued to have a good time. You went on a shell hunt. Miranda managed to find the biggest while you found the most colorful. Cove caught a tiny crab. That's risky. You did a bit of everything. There were impromptu games to just soaking up each other's company. However, after a while, you all had run out of water, drinkable water anyway. It was decided that you'd head to your Cove's house. Things were gathered, and you started to cheerfully walk up the road. What's next? I don't have anywhere to go, so it can be wherever. Same, I guess we can just keep hanging out. Terry snorted and readjusted her grip on her thighs. Or things. Don't sound too sure there, Cove. By this point, you could see your house. It hadn't taken you long to make the trip. The conversation continued with everyone throwing out suggestions. Are people hungry? She looked from face to face in inspection. Cove and Miranda shrugged in concert. No one was overtly opposed to it. However, you weren't really starving. It wasn't quite mealtime. Bullshit. Swimming in the ocean makes you fucking hungry. We could get dessert. Miranda put a finger to her lip and thought. With a smile, her voice became more confident. Yeah, that would be fun. Terry considered it and then shot Miranda a thumbs up.
Sure.
Sounds great to me. Oh yeah, this is gonna be the last one. There's actually quite a chunk left of this one already. I can definitely go for that. I think that's a good... We only got past the prologue, man. But there's nothing sweet at my house. Your friends glanced at Cove and his place. He shook his head immediately. Dad doesn't have anything good either. I mean, unless you want dessert-flavored protein shakes. Those sound pretty good, though. You know. She cut in and held her hands up as if trying to ward off something evil. Cove smirked.
Not bad.
It's not that bad. Nope. Well, there has to be some kind of sweet shop around here. Let's look it up. Terry nodded and started to dig around in her bag. I like the way you think. Terry continued to rummage in her bag and grew increasingly frustrated. She puffed out her cheeks and knelt down, setting the bag on the ground. With both hands free, she was finally able to fish out her phone. She raised it up in triumph for a brief moment of celebration.
I'm on it.
I'll search for something good. Terry got back on her feet, hefting the bag over one arm, tapping away at her screen in the other. But she assessed Cove from top to bottom. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Cove glanced down at his bare chest and feet, having not even registered it prior. He chuckled a little. I'll grab something. Cove moved over to his house. You looked towards yours. You decide to change it. Well, I'm wearing comfy stuff. It's fine. You watched Cove disappear into his house. Terry was deep in the midst of scrolling through food options. You shuffled over to where you could see, and Miranda did the same. Oh yeah, looking for snack shops. So fun. So good. There's ice cream. People love ice cream. I don't really feel like ice cream. Cool, because I don't either. You're both fucking lame. She flicked her finger up, and another ice cream place showed up. Melty Moo Moo's frozen treats with an unfortunate cartoon. Oh, it's probably a little cow. I like ice cream, it's just not for today. There has to be something else. You thought on it and Terry kept scrolling. You heard the door open and Cove reappeared. You were about to be surprised at how quick it was, but then you noticed he'd just thrown on a t-shirt over his swim trunks and slipped a pair of sandals on, of course. I mean, that's basically what I'm wearing in this scenario. Hey. Everyone else exchanged their respective greetings and then looked back at Terry's phone. Terry scrolled further and then made an interesting exclamation. Interested. Oh, what about this place? They sell crepes. It's something you don't see every day. Look how fancy they are. So good. She shoved her phone into your face. It seemed like a cute shop. It didn't show any pictures of the actual building, but the food seemed good. It was one of those places that put a lot of effort in presentation, with branding wrapped around the crepes and well-applied toppings. Nice. Weird. Never heard of it. I haven't either. It's new. Mysterious, but crepes are so good. She nodded her approval as Terry admired more of the photos. I'd go, it's not too far, but we could drive. Terry cheered at the success of the plan made, and you all walked around to Cove's car. He had to run inside once more to grab his keys. You wrote "wash me" on his car. I did this last time. It's kind of funny, but... You noticed the thin coating of sand and dust on Cove's car. It had probably been a while since he'd watched it. With a smirk, you carefully wrote "wash me" with your finger. I did this when I was a little kid. Good work. I wonder if he's even gonna notice. The car beeped and unlocked. Cove ran up to you with his car keys in hand. His hair slipped into his face, and he brushed it back. Shotgun! I have girlfriend rights! She clambered into the passenger seat without hesitation. You didn't argue and climbed into the back with, I have girlfriend rights! No! Bullshit. Terry activated the directions on her phone map and acted as their navigator, directing Cove to the crepes. The GPS tried to get Cove to turn into a non-existent road once, and wanted him to do a U-turn instead of just using the left turn. But with Terry looking at the actual plan, it went smooth enough. You were led to a small stall in the parking lot rather than a full building. That explained why there hadn't been any pictures of the creperie's interior, and why it was new to you despite living in this town your entire life. It was a completely new structure that had popped up recently. The little tiny stall. There was a window you could walk up, and one for cars to drive up to. Cove parked with a laugh.
Come on.
I don't think I needed to put a shirt on for this, but I still want to try it. Let's go. Are you opposed to wearing a shirt?
What?
Did you not trust us to eat? Do you not trust us to eat in your car? She gestured to the drive-through window, and Cove shook his head with a snort. I'd trust some people here, maybe, but wouldn't it be more fun to actually check it out? Everyone acknowledged his point and piled out. Terry tried to tease Cove a little, but Miranda started talking about the last time she had crepes. So good. Sounds so good. Apparently, they'd been a dessert explosion, topped with multiple sauces, powdered sugar, and what Miranda was pretty sure had to be a cake icing. That's sweet.
So great.
Literally, it was so good, but I regretted it so much I couldn't finish it, and I really tried. You can do it this time, Randy. Look how cute they are. There were some laughs. When you got to the menu, you realized that there were more than just crepes. There were definitely crepes, mini crepes. However, the stall also had a lot of different drinks as well. Teas, smoothies, and milkshakes. Mmm, so good. Jackpot. She grinned and held out her fist for a fist bump. Miranda high-fived it. The two stared at the awkward, vaguely turkey-shaped hand configuration they had made and then slowly put their hands back down. Cove's mouth twitched in a smile. You stepped up to order first. You glanced back at the menu. You ordered a crepe, you ordered a drink, you ordered a crepe and a drink. Well, let's go with both. Why not? Hello, I'd like a crepe and a drink, please. There was a woman who looked a little older than you taking the orders. She smiled back at you, ready to hear the specifics of your purchase. I get to make a crepe. I get to make a crepe. I'm so excited. For the crepe itself, you wanted plain. What is plain? What's plain flavor? Strawberry, chocolate, green tea, lemon. That sounds good though. But that sounds good though. Is it hot out? I'm gonna assume it's hot out and go with lemon flavor. For the filling and toppings, you picked. Alright. We gotta have the whipped cream. It's lemon flavor, so let's go. We can go fruity. We can go mango. I mean, I don't think these would be bad. They might be cool. Just put all of it in there. It's so good. Fuck it. I don't know. After you picked the size, you were asked what you wanted to drink. You ordered. Do I get to make that too, or do I just pick one? An iced green tea, a black tea, a milk tea, an iced coffee, a strawberry smoothie, a banana smoothie, a mango smoothie, a coffee frap, a vanilla milkshake, and a coffee milkshake. Or chocolate. To pick the coffee. You could also add a mix of... I can put toppings in this one too. Yes. Oh yeah, whipped cream, chocolate syrup, caramel syrup, boba pearls, meh, condensed milk. Okay, whipped cream and caramel, and that's it. You paid and stepped aside to let your friends order. Delicious. It sounds so good. Cove got a lemon. Oh, he also got a lemon with powdered sugar on top and a mixed berries. He also got a plain strawberry smoothie. Terry went crazy with toppings. Although she ordered a plain crepe, she had it smoothed with whipped cream, cream cheese, chocolate chips, chocolate syrup, and banana. Oh god, that sounds so good. Miranda opted for a frappe with caramel syrup and condensed milk. The four of you stood off to the side as you waited for your treats. I heard what you ordered, Little. Glad I'm not the only one to go for a drink and a crepe. I couldn't pick just one, and why not? Yeah, me and Cove on the same wavelength. Exactly, it's gonna be good. Little man, your crepe is gonna rock. Yes, it is. It's very yellow. I made a very yellow crepe. High five for topping appreciation. She held her hand out expectantly. You gave her a high five. You left her hanging. You fist bumped her palm. Terry stared at your hands. She blinked and she looked between Miranda and you. Is this just a thing now? I don't know what you mean. Miranda's voice was surprisingly serious. While her face looked like she was seconds away from laughing, Terry shook her head dramatically. Order for little. Delicious. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Oh, I've got to get that. So good. You grabbed your order. The others didn't take much time after that. With the goods collected, everyone admired their treats. I got the goods. Terry dug right into hers and Miranda gave hers a tentative sip. Delicious. Terry nodded acceptingly. With her mouth completely full, Miranda tilted the frappe over to her with a grin. Terry sipped it and clearly loved it. She raised her crepe over to Miranda so she could tell that there was an intent to make it look nice. But with all the assorted toppings piled on, only so much could be done. Picked all the toppings. Miranda took a huge bite with gusto and sighed happily. Terry seemed satisfied and took another slurp of Miranda's drink. They had both gotten one thing, probably because they knew they'd end up sharing. That's fair. Me and Cove are just gluttons over here. Cove went over to you, and there was a definite interest in his eyes at your order. Oh? Would you like to try? So, could I have... He's asking to share? He's initiating the sharing? That's so cute! You tasted his and shared yours. You offered to share yours, but didn't want to try Cove's. You declined sharing entirely. You can have some if you share too. These are the same, aren't they? With a nod, he passed his smoothie first, and then you had to rearrange what was in your hands to take his crepe as well. You handed him your order, and he smiled eagerly. They were both an explosion of fruit. The crepe was both tart and sweet, while the strawberry smoothie helped you wash it down. You both exchanged your treats back after a small sampling. Cove gave you an approving grin. Yes! Same wavelength. With that, Cove started to eat his treat in earnest. You saw him take a huge gulp of his smoothie, and then without swallowing, he added a bite of his lemon crepe. He's mixing. His habit of mixing foods together wasn't anything new. He hummed in satisfaction. As you guessed, he must have liked the combined flavor. I mean, it's just like fruit mix. Like punch. Cove? Terry tore off a piece of her crepe and held it out to Cove.
So,
Care to make a trade? Sure. It's so nice. Instead of continuing to loiter in the parking lot, the four of you started to walk down the sidewalk. There was a lot of sharing going on, with crepe bits and toppings being passed around. You wouldn't have been surprised if Terry ended up drinking more frappe than Miranda did. You kept going down the way, eating, drinking, and chatting. You hadn't realized just how far the group had wandered until you ended up in the now leaving sign. Apparently, you were about to just walk right out into the middle of nowhere. Harry took her mouth off of Miranda's straw and stopped sipping the frappe. Impossible. Preposterous. How are we already at the end? We walked the whole town? How long were we walking? How long is this day? I always forget how tiny this town really... Like, really? By the time we were done with the beach, it probably should have been like 2 in the afternoon already. Cove chuckled a little and swallowed a chunk of Terry's crepe. It kinda is, huh? It didn't feel this small when we were growing up. It definitely felt bigger then. It always seems like there wasn't much here. There are tinier places out there. You guys are lucky to live in decent-sized cities. You quietly nodded along. Yeah, it definitely felt bigger. There was a time when Sunset Bird had felt huge. It seemed as endless as the ocean, and there was always some street you hadn't wandered down, something new for the tourists. But now, you had realized it was just a pond in this big, big world. Seeing the definite end only reinforced this. I guess this means we should probably head back. One doesn't just walk into Nowhere Land. We're not only one, Terry. There's 4 of us. Terry scrunched up her face, not wanting to acknowledge the bad joke. She decided to ignore it. Heyo! It stinks having to go all the way back. Yeah, but it's not like there's anything out that direction. Welcome to Stream, and if we did keep going forward, it'd be an even longer trip home. You stared off into the stretch of road as Cove agreed that he didn't want to go out any further. I'm pretty good. Can you take a break here first before we turn around? We've been walking for a while, and someone finished my drink. Right on cue, Terry loudly sucked air from the straw. It was so good. Miranda looked at her, but Terry remained unrepentant. In the end, though, it was agreed to hang around the sign before heading back to the car. It didn't take long to finish the rest of the food and drinks. Everyone gathered up the trash and stuffed it into the bags and pockets for now. The group relaxed in the grass, keeping account of all the cars that drove past. It was not a high number. Yeah, but it's a tourist place in the summer. I feel like there should be people coming here. 14. The news passing car drove into town from somewhere outside. But as the vehicle came by, it slowed down and you watched as it ultimately rolled to a complete stop. The black car parked right by the now leaving sign. Everyone exchanged a baffled look. But when the tinted window rolled down to the driver and the driver peered out, as soon as you saw his hair, you recognized him. No one else you knew presented themselves so distinctly. Hi, Baxter! Hey, bud. Hey, neighbors. Cove openly sighed when he recognized him, afterwards sucking sulkily on the straw of his long, empty drink. Sorry, I was watching The Boxman, who was playing The Legend of Dragoon, where his Inside the Moon that never sets. But he ended the stream. Oh, cool! It's cool that people are still playing that. You waved at him, hi. You just wondered what he was doing, you wished he hadn't stopped to chat, you smiled, you were excited to see him. Yeah, I like him. He's nice. Surprising though it was, you were happy to see him. It was an interesting turn for the day. You shot him a friendly grin. And you thought about the odd picture this made. A fancy black car pulling over to talk to a group of teens, mostly still in beachwear. I'm glad you're here to talk. Miranda was incredibly confused and shrank back to watch. Terry tilted her head in an unspoken question. Cove made a quick gesture pointing towards Baxter, and a light bulb went off for Terry. Yeah, we're only going to the end of this section because these are getting pretty long, and if I do one after this... that's the new person in the condo, the B-Man, right? Yeah, these ones are pretty long, so this is the only one we're doing. Oh, I wasn't sure if I'd ever actually seen him. Or if I'd ever actually see him, sorry. Her voice was quiet. Miranda usually got shy around new people. Terry was quite the opposite. Yeah, those two are like the opposite people. Incredible, this is perfect. Terry hopped up from the grass and ran to Baxter's car, full of excitement. Behind her, Miranda picked herself up and dusted imaginary dirt off her clothes. She sent a searching look to you and Cove, in which Cove shrugged, Miranda nodded, and with a clenched fist, hesitantly followed Terry. Terry bent down to talk to Baxter through his window. She blasted through introductions, with Miranda putting on a shy wave. Cove looked at you. He clearly had no intention of going over. I'm gonna go over. Come on. He's nice. You stayed with Cove. You went over to Baxter. You encouraged Cove to come. I did play a playthrough of this before. But, so this game is a free version. And the free version has, you know, the base game. You can then buy the DLC, which gives you a whole bunch more game. And it's not that expensive. I mean, the base game in itself is already pretty long and it's nice. Like, it's a pretty complete game. But I did end up streaming it now that I have the DLC. And making a couple different decisions and stuff, but the DLC changed it up enough that I think it's fun. Come on, let's go and see him. Cove pouted, his cheeks flared out in a childish puff. I don't want to, I don't know what to say.
Fine.
You can go, I'll just wait till he's gone. You really should come, you can do it. Do you want to be the only person who doesn't go see him? Well, why can't you stay here with me instead? Okay, I'll stay. I just wanted to say hi to my friend. You sighed. He was definitely going to be difficult about this. Some days, he really was that same grouchy 8-year-old you met all those years ago. You stayed with Cove, you went over to Baxter, you physically pushed him towards the car. Do you really hate him that much? No, I don't hate him. I get weird around him. I know his forwardness bothers you, but think of him like Terry. She's super friendly and loves to chat with new people. She's doing it right now. Terry doesn't hit on me. Terry doesn't hit on you. If that's what he said he wasn't hitting on us. That's just how he talks. Baxter says serious things when I don't think he's actually very serious. That's what bothers me. Okay. It'll be alright. He's tried to do less of that with you, and we'll all be there. With an unnecessarily whiny groan, he relented. Fine, let's go. Slowly, progress forward was made until you two arrived at the driver's side car window. Baxter smiled welcomingly. Hello. Hi, Baxter. Hey. Cove greeted him mildly, his expression cautious. Howdy, Baxter. Baxter gestured to Miranda and Terry. I just rented this car for my stay here and was coming back from a bit of sightseeing when I spotted your crowd. Then these two were kindly introducing themselves. Yep, it's only polite. Speaking of polite, Baxter is giving us a ride. I was asking him to. Oh, poor Cove. What? Baxter shrugged guiltily, seeing Cove's dramatic reaction. The offer is open. And we're taking it. Okay. You were just happy to get a ride. You were kind of annoyed that Terry did this. You felt uncomfortable to be getting a ride from Baxter. No, I mean, I'm cool with him. Regardless of anything else, you didn't have to walk back. That's what counted, and you were grateful to Terry for arranging it. These choices aren't so bad. Alright, plan made, let's hop in. Because I like Baxter, so I want to cultivate friendship with him. You excitedly opened the passenger side door and buckled yourself in. The car was pristine, and you were right near the new car-scented air freshener. Oh, I got shotgun? Yes! Baxter had the air conditioner on cold, but low so it was pleasantly cool inside. A nice relief from summer you had been baking in all day. Oh yeah, nice car, fancy car. Your friends clambered on and back. It definitely seemed the slightest bit squished back there.
Does that sound alright?
Welcome to my vehicle. I hope everyone is comfortable, and if someone could point me in the right direction, we could be on our way. Terry went back to navigator mode and outlined their journey. It was basically a straight line with one turn at the end into the parking lot. It doesn't make sense that I am in the front, but I'll take it. Baxter nodded from up in the driver's seat and pulled back into the road. Luckily, the street was still dead empty. It took no time at all for Baxter to park right next to Cove's car. There wasn't even enough time for a proper conversation to start. The occupants didn't seem to mind. There were smiles all around when Baxter parked next to Cove's car. Woo! Miranda clapped quietly as Terry cheered. Cove chuckled nervously. Thanks, my dude. Are we friends like this? We'll be friends like this. I'll go for it. You leaned over the divider and gave Baxter a lighthearted push on the shoulder. He hadn't been expecting you, but quickly laughed and smiled at you. The celebration seemed to amuse him. Thanks for the ride, buddy. My broski. We've arrived. That was easy. Terry flung open her door and climbed out.
Thanks.
It was 15. Actually, it was most of them. But you're probably thinking of 15. Everyone else exited the car as well. The group thanked varying degrees of enthusiasm, Baxter himself. Everyone congregated again in front of Baxter's car and Cove's cars. It was probably 15. 15, has a lot to do with the car. Like, the car you have right off the bat, it's kind of a big deal. But in just about all of the games, at one point or another, you get a car that you drive around. 15 was the only one where it was, like, I guess a realistic car. I don't know. And it was, like, really integral to the story. Cove looked at the back of his and frowned. He'd finally discovered the wash me you'd put on it. Sorry, Cove. I wonder who did that. Not me. It was Miranda. You snickered. Along with Miranda, you realized you'd been caught.
Ooh.
It's a mystery. Right. Terry bounced over to Baxter and offered her hand for a handshake. He accepted it easily with a charming grin. I like him. He's nice. You're a pal. You're too kind. It was no trouble whatsoever. I'll be keeping this car all summer. If it suits you, you're welcome to take my number and give me a ring whenever you're in the need for another ride. And that goes for everyone here. Yeah, that's fair. Gimme. Do, do, do. I have a car. Terry busted into laughter and Miranda fidgeted. She did not know what to do with that. Baxter really went fast, didn't he? He noticed her discomfort and smiled with a soft tilt to his head. Beep beep. I'd be happy to help again if that's the only reason I offered. You don't need it. You don't need it. You can pass on it. Can I have your number? Yeah, I'll take it. Gimme. He beamed widely at your response.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I want friends. Baxter pulled out a pen and he had with him for some reason and jotted his number down. He passed the little paper to you and you accepted. I can imagine somebody like him just has a pen. When her giggle subsided, Terry put a hand on her chin with brows furrowed. I wonder, would that option be available right now? You could valet us somewhere cool. What? Cove was taken aback. He put a hand on the hood of his car. Chill, baby, it's okay. Weren't we going back to the neighborhood? Wasn't Baxter going back to the neighborhood too? Why would we go somewhere else? Because we can. Miranda squirmed nervously and then committed to piping up.
Maybe?
We can go to the park near my place. It's a really nice place to hang out. You and Cove shared a look. The big park was pretty nice. Let's do it. Baxter tapped the side of his face in thought.
It's doable.
That sounds doable. He glanced at Cove and then switched focus to you. Hello. Well, we have 2 cars. If some people want to go to the park, I could still take the others home. But if everyone's going, it wouldn't make sense for me not to. You decided to go back to the neighborhood with Cove. You wanted to continue the hangout section. I want to hang out with all of my friends, Cove. Please. You weren't ready to tag out just yet. You came to a decision and turned to Cove. Let's go to the park. I actually wonder what happens if you two go home. Alright, park time it is. He smiled a little, Terry cheered, and Miranda nodded happily. You felt like you made a good decision. Yeah, there was no point in, like, splitting the party up right now. To the car! Again! Which car? There are multiple. You watched to see if Cove or Baxter had an answer. Cove sighed and ran a hand through his hair. He tapped on his car's hood nervously.
I guess.
We can go in Baxter's, I guess? It'll be less of a pain than bringing both. We're all going to the same place. Are you okay with that, Baxter? Certainly, I meant what I said. When you need a lift, I can give it. What a sweetie. Neither you nor Terry brought up any objections, and so the gang climbed back into Baxter's nice ride. All these fucking rich kids, man. This time, Baxter offered to turn on some music. After all, it would be a little bit of a drive to the park. Play what you normally would, don't mind us. Can you see what's on the radio? I'd rather not have any. Just play whatever you want. It's your car. Yeah, I would like to see what kind of stuff a guy like you is into. I hope the playlist lives up to expectations. He plugged his phone into the car with the aux cord and turned on some alternative music. With the music taken care of, Baxter put the car in drive and pulled out of the parking lot. The lot was practically empty, but you noticed that he was careful anyways. It is a rented car. It's still expensive. During the trip, it changed to hard rock, punk, and even screamo. Despite his personable demeanor, he didn't seem to like upbeat tracks. Fine by me. It took a while to arrive. By the time you got there, the sky was golden with orange streaks of sunset. Everyone got out of the car and started to stroll along one of the paths. You walked by the basketball court and some picnic tables, taking in the sights. Miranda seemed amazingly contented, and the location helping her relax in company. Oh yeah, this is her stomping grounds. She led the way, sometimes stopping here or there to point something out. Baxter turned to her and nodded along.
Not
I've never been here, but I definitely see the appeal. Man, this is Randy's stomping grounds. She's been coming here forever. Seriously, Miranda, have you ever had a birthday party that wasn't here? You've missed out, Baxter, because every year she has a blowout party at the park. Imagine balloons everywhere. Miranda looked down, suddenly shy again at the attention on her. She let out an awkward laugh. Yep, every year. Actually, my birthday is where I first started to really get to know Cove and Little. Yay! She smiled and then pointed to a wide, flat spot on the grass. Remember the bounce house? Yes, I do. I remember. He chuckled, and you could practically see those old memories on his face. It was a party for the ages. You were great. Yeah, it was a blast. I miss parties like that. Everyone is too cool for bounce houses. Oh yeah, that did happen. You shrugged, you quietly nodded. Yeah. The group followed Miranda along to one of the picnic tables. She took a seat and Terry slid in beside her. You spent the evening chatting amongst each other. Everyone got to know Baxter a little better, although you could tell Cove and him still hadn't fully clicked. At one point, Miranda found an abandoned soccer ball and started tossing it around. To me. Miranda threw the ball to her. Terry caught it with a smile. Think fast. No, I don't think fast. She chucked it at Baxter, who only had enough time to squeak. It bounced off his chest and he stared at it, dazed. Terry, you just threw a ball at somebody! He blinked as if he needed time to process what exactly had happened, but then grinned dangerously. He rushed after the ball, and rather than throwing it back, he surprised Terry and everyone else by lobbing the ball high into the air. You bent your neck back to watch its ascent. In inevitable decline, Baxter hooked it with his foot and launched it back up again. There were oohs and ahs from Terry and Miranda. Baxter gave them there's a bug. It just spooked me. When it finally fell to the ground for real, Cove was the one who picked it up. He was impressed and wanted in. With that, everyone was drawn into the game. It was unspoken that whoever did the fanciest trick won. Most of the gang was not particularly practiced with throwing the ball, so not many of the tricks were actually good. However, there was a lot of laughter, and you got to see Miranda pull off a round-off where she threw the ball with her feet. That was so cool. The sunset eventually darkened the night, and streetlights turned on. Your group's chosen picnic table laid in the bubble of light. The occasional bug cast a shadow as it flew away. Ew, bugs. Ew, bugs in the summer. Oh, I need my fucking mosquito spray. It's a little strange being here so late on a normal night. Usually, it only happens if there's a party or an important game or a fireworks show. Fireworks! Her yell startled Baxter, who was throwing the ball nonchalantly from hand to hand. He missed catching it, and it sailed sadly back to the ground. He looked at Terry for her loud outburst. I just remembered. There's gonna be a fireworks show tonight. It's in the city. At everyone's questioning look, she huffed and tried to explain further. It's some celebration for an opening of something. I don't remember what. I don't think we could get into the actual event anyways.
Oh yeah.
But we should still be able to see the show if we get close. You can't keep explosions in the sky away from the public. Fair enough. Cove raised an eyebrow and drummed his fingers on the table below him. You want to change locations again? Wasn't the last 2 times enough? Terry rolled her eyes and then shook her head. To her, it was obvious. Don't be a wet blanket, Cove. What about you, little Randy Baxter? Don't you want to see fireworks? It's fireworks, we gotta go. Cove's right, it's too much, you didn't say anything. I didn't do this last time. I agreed with Cove that this day was too long, because, just for the record, this whole section has already lasted like an hour. But I want to see what this extra, like how much more this adds, if any. I guess they are fireworks. Alright, whatever. What's one more scene change? Yes! I knew this was a good idea. In turn, 4 sets of eyes looked at Baxter. As the driver, his answer made or broke the plan. He chuckled softly. In for a penny, in for a pound. I'll go. Hey, genuinely, there's nothing more to occupy my time tonight. We better hurry, or we might miss it. Cove rolled his eyes, but laughed. Everyone headed back to the car yet again. Terry brought out her phone to navigate the city, and Baxter stepped on the gas. You were on your way. Baxter drove past buildings aglow in warm light that cut through the navy black night. One office building that had bright LEDs that's cycled through the whole... God, there's so much going on in my brain right now. It was difficult to get through all of the traffic on one road, let alone find parking for this late at night. Luckily, Miranda had eagle eyes when it came to scoping out a spot. She pointed at a sedan pulling out, and Baxter parked within seconds. Good shit. Am I still the shotgun spot? Not wanting to miss the show, you all raced down to the waterfront walkway to find a place with a good view. What about here? Cove peered across the rails into the distance and shot her thumbs up. It was relatively quiet, isolated. You could see skyscrapers. I think that's a typo. It was a good sign, based on where Terry thought the event was. Yes, this should work just fine. She stopped and tried to catch her breath. Her hands on her knees, Miranda leaned against the wall between establishments as she recovered. Cove took a moment to breathe as well, stretching his spine back. He looked up at the night sky and wondered, oh God, got sleepy. Think we've missed anything?
No way.
Not a chance. Nothing's happening. We can't be so late that we missed everything. Maybe it'll start soon. You felt excited. You thought this was kind of a silly situation. You were nervous about how close the fireworks would be. You felt pretty laid back about the whole thing. Sure, the fireworks were something that you'd like to see, but you weren't overly invested in the show. You're with your friends, and that was already something. Fireworks would happen if they wouldn't. Fireworks would happen or they wouldn't, and you could accept it either way. Yee! I just want to hang with all my buddies. Terry led Miranda to sit down on the oval slabs along the path. Miranda took a seat and began tapping her knees together as she waited. Terry, meanwhile, crouched more than sat. Baxter smiled politely and looked from you to Cove. He seemed to be waiting for one of you to speak first rather than wanting to directly start a conversation. You can- it's fine. I'm okay with it, baby. You can just talk to me. Are we all just vibing? Something seemed to strike Cove as he tried unsuccessfully to hide a smile. We're all still in swimsuits. Wearing beachwear in the middle of the city in the dark while waiting for a fireworks show was clearly the joke of the day for him. Cove snorted once and then looked back at the night sky. Oh yeah, it's a long game. I really like it. It's a lot of content. A flash lit up the sky with a brilliant green. Your eyes flew off the building in the distance and silently watched with bated breath. You heard a second boom and the red firework lit up in the night. Woo, the show's starting. God, I gotta yawn again. Why am I so sleepy? It's so pretty. They came running over to get closer, positively beaming. Terry pressed herself to the waterfront fence, getting as close as physically possible without just going swimming again. You're all good. More fireworks went off, shooting out hundreds of tiny sparkling lights. The colors stood out starkly against the dark of the night. The biggest ones wash your surroundings in their hue, turning your world blue, then red, then golden.
Welcome.
Did I deliver or did I deliver? Miranda's eyes glittered and she lightly bumped Terry with her hip. Good job. Terry stumbled at the friendly nudge, who was pleased with the compliment. She grinned back. Miranda lightly swung her hips the opposite way to give you a bump as well. It was friendly and soft. We did it! You smiled at her and nodded. Yay, fireworks! Woo! You were pleased that you hadn't missed any of the show after all. You were glad everyone seemed to be having a good time. You were uncomfortable. Cove stared up at the sky in wonder while Terry squealed in joy after a series of especially grand explosions. Miranda pointed to one that was shooting up and then gasped when it bloomed and turned into a huge sphere of violet light. Baxter smiled in appreciation. It was good to see your friends in high spirits. The rest of the group huddled around the railing to take in the show as closely as possible. Miranda stood close by, Terry's hands gripped at the top. Cove laid his hands across it while leaning forward, and Baxter rested his elbows on the rail, putting his back towards the fireworks. Oh, he's cool like that. Okay, I see how it is. He seemed to have more fun watching the others than the actual show. Dude, same. Oh. She pointed out a golden firework and beamed. That's so cool. Terry held up her hand for a high five and Miranda obliged her. Terry whooped and shot you a smile. What color do you think the next one will be? Without giving Baxter a glance, Cove answered immediately. Green. It was orange. Baxter chuckled, but wasn't interested in calling Cove out for being wrong. Is that your favorite color? People keep asking his favorite color. It's one of them. This is the same answer he gave when he was 8. I think that's nice. It matches you. And is yours black? That's one of them. Cove smirked just a little and left the conversation there. Oh, they're hitting it off just a little bit. Yes! I mean, I'm gonna stand next to Cove. Cove looked away from the fireworks and grinned at you. He was glad to be spending time with you and tilted his head at the spectacular multicolored firework above. I think that's been my favorite so far. He shot you another look and nodded, wanting you to move up closer in front of him. You could see the night's lights reflected in the water. You took a moment to watch him and the fireworks reflected in his eyes. Cove grinned like a kid. He's so cute. You leaned your head against Cove. You held Cove's hand. You wrapped your arms around. You cuddled against it. I want cuddles. You pressed yourself against his chest, snuggling into him. He readjusted his position and then wrapped his arms around you, holding you close. It's so cute. He rested his chin on top of your head comfortably. You let yourself relax against him and continued to watch the fireworks above. Cove's gaze drifted from the show of dazzling lights straight at you, and he sighed dreamily. You didn't know when you'd last seen him so blissful. When he was in my room earlier today. The spectacle continued to up the ante by bringing more fireworks out at the time. The colors danced across the sky and reflected over the water. You reached out a hand and watched as it was tinted green while a big boom sounded. Here's a green one. Fireworks were a normal summer tradition, but this was admittedly an unconventional approach. Showing up in the city last minute to watch a display from a technically private event, that made this feel special in a way that just planning it to go to a public fireworks show never would. Terry's idea may not have left you with a lot of time to prepare, but it sure led to a unique situation. It was clear that this was an unforgettable night. As the finale sounded, blazing the sky with unbelievable beauty, you remembered thinking that there might never be a night exactly like this one again. Not for the rest of your life. Kiss your boy! Kiss your boy! Fuck the other three. Just kiss him. Love your boy. You planned to hold on to that feeling you had in that moment for as long as you could. Cool. Yeah, so that one was long. That one took a whole hour by itself. So all of these ones are pretty long, and so it's gonna take a while to get through them. Yay! Okay. So that's it tonight, because I don't want to stay up until like God knows when again. At least not on purpose. But thank you guys for hanging out. It's really cool to talk to people and play this cute little game. I really enjoy it. I'm gonna go get some sleep. We'll be back probably not tomorrow night. But at some point. I have some work I gotta get done, so I gotta do that first. But once that's done, I'll be back. Anyway. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Goodbye.